like push you out of the way, but don't fall because that's a stunt and you're not a stunt person.
Okay, you want me to run in a brick house and not fall over? Okay.
So he's coming through this crowd hard, like
Oh man, but yeah, so like kind of I guess like, we'll start from the beginning. Like how did you like when was the moment that you decided to do acting? Was it like did you do theater and stuff in high school or like where did it start?
Um, I actually started doing theater at Liberal Alliance Church.
Okay.
When I was going to church, this lady Perry Schumann, Margaret Schumann, Perry was my friend at homeschool,
Yeah.
and she was a theater major, so I got free classes for theater.
Nice.
So she just recruited us to put on plays to raise money to go on mission trips.
Okay.
And so that's how I got my first taste on of the stage and the lights and everything, and did that all the way up until high school, and so was still trying to pursue sports like baseball, tennis.
Yeah.
Realized I wasn't getting any taller, and was playing these 6'5" European tennis players that I was like, I got no chance.
It's like you guys are great. I'm
Yeah.
good too, but
Yeah, you guys are killing it.
Yeah.
Tried playing baseball, realized that to be a pitcher, you gotta have some leverage, be a little taller, and I was like, well, okay, that's not gonna work. And then I was like, what do I love to do? So I was working out at the time, because I was like, I don't want to be a guy that is scared of wind. So my big come to the gym moment was I was going to Georgia State at the time. Windy day, raining, had an umbrella, and I was fighting this wind. I was getting pushed back 2 steps, taking a step forward. And I was like, what happens if I jump in the air right now? So I jumped in the air and I traveled 20 feet down the sidewalk with a backpack on with like my books. And I was like, who's going to date me? When a guy's biggest enemy is wind. So I started hitting the gym, was still playing tennis and stuff, ran into a friend, a classmate, and I was like, hey, what do you do? And she was like, I model and I act. I'm like, man, I miss acting. I remember I did theater at church, but I'm probably too old to act. And she was like, no, you're never too old. Get on Facebook, start applying to these extras to work as background to get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I applied to Jungle Cruise.
Okay.
And that's the first set I was on with The Rock, Emily Blunt, and the English comedian, I forgot his name.
The short
Whitehall, Jack Whitehall.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yep. So that's the first set I was on, and just that experience, seeing the set they built. They built it 15 feet off the ground, built a whole roof. Was it treetop village?
Okay.
Tiki torches, fire pit, like huts, like everything.
Wow.
Made it out of like sticks. So it was ridiculous. They're like, this is the best set that they've built. And so just being on that set, because you were just talking about how like the cameras are canvas.
Yeah.
It's more like the set, because like that puts you in the mindset.
Yeah.
Because that kind of helps. Like if you're like theater, you're kind of on a stage, you've got an audience, you've got your cast members, you got kind of like buildings or something behind you.
Something to bounce off.
Yeah.
Kind of like the energy.
But in film, they have a whole set. So you're in that world. Because you can go from like the back room, like outside the set, go a little like this, just concrete floor, just walls. And you're like, okay. And then you walk on the set and you're in a completely different world.
Yeah.
And you just get transported. And you're like, all right, so I'm no longer in Atlanta. I'm in the jungle. Like, I've got the face paint on, I got the costume on, they've got their lines, like, I'm in it. So it's like so easy. That really helps in like switching that mindset.
Yeah.
So.
Because I mean, dude, that's the thing. Like, I like even the fact that you said like they built like a whole under like there's like it's up on like a
yeah.
There's an underneath the set like and like do you know why they do that or is it just kind of like give it?
So in one of the scenes in the movie, there's supposed to be a river, and so The Rock and Emily Blunt are escaping the Puka Machuna, which was one of the people I played.
Yeah.
And they're escaping, so they escape. There's like boats attached to the set, and they just lower them down and there's like a green screen that they like put in the water, but then they have a whole river and pool built in the parking lot.
Jesus.
So then they like take the cameras, do that river scene, then bring it back.
Mm.
But yeah, that's why they have to have it up, so then they can lower the boats to for the other parts of the movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Hey, do me a favor, Luke. Can you scoot up a little bit more?
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Just. It's like it's picking up. I just want to I want to make sure everyone can hear all the knowledge that you're about to drop on us. Yeah.
That better?
Yeah, that's much
Okay.
better. Yeah, because I mean that's the thing. Like my only I know like in high school and stuff we had a great theater program with the Lindals and like ended up being on the Disney Plus thing where they went back and like talked about like great theater programs.
Yeah.
And so I was always like that was one of the things I was like I kind of wish like. Because you can't, as an athlete in high school and stuff, especially nowadays, there's only so much that you can squeeze into. Like football coaches don't want you doing other sports; they want you just football all year round. Like they say, yeah, you're not allowed to go do other sports, but it's if you're a multi sport athlete, the coaches are like, well, if you get hurt in the off season and stuff, and like I'm not saying my coaches per se did this to me because I was not. I was just track and field, which is like, Jared, if you get hurt throwing a rock, that's on you, bud. But I mean, that was kind of the mentality. So, but I wish I could have been in like the theater program and like probably like as a musician, I would love to do like musical, straight play. I don't know how actors like memorize lines like that, dude.
Well, you were in track and field?
Yeah, I did shot put and discus.
Okay.
And then it was football and then track shot put and discus.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean. It was, it was just fun. It was just a bunch of meatheads. It's like, I bet I could throw a rock farther than you. It's like, I bet you can't. Like, but I mean, like, that's kind of cool. And it's like going from that, when your friend suggested about going back into it, because you're never, like, there's roles for everybody. It just depends on the film.
Yeah.
Do you use just, like, one kind of, like, audition getting kind of like how do you get your auditions? You just kind of hunt them out on like different platforms?
So audition wise, I get on Actors Access. So I have Actors Access, and they've got like paid gigs, like paid acting gigs. They've got commercials. They've got indie films, student films. I actually got an agent in 2020.
Nice.
But from 2018 to 2020, I was on Actors Access. I was applying to all these student films, indie films to build my resume. Without a resume, there's not really going to be an agent that's going to take a chance on you.
Yeah.
Because the biggest mistake that young actors or new actors make is that they put background work on their acting resume, which is a big no. Really? Because background work isn't seen as acting.
Yeah.
So indie films, student films, even like student films usually aren't paid, but you do get credit. You do get like clips of your acting.
You can show a little bit more like, hey, I'm this actor and this is what the thing is, and here's me doing it. And
because like indie films, student films, with speaking lines, you're going to need to hit your mark. You're going to need to remember your lines. You're going to need to be able to perform on screen instead of just as background. You're like, hey, stand there, walk there, pretend to talk.
Yeah.
But indie films, student films, anywhere you have a speaking line or you're cast, you have to, even though you're not paid the big bucks, you still have to do the work of someone who would be
and
paid.
It shows that you can.
Yes. Yeah. So once I built my resume of like student films, indie films, I was able to. It's a way for you to be able to show possible agents that you are marketable.
Yeah.
So can you get your own jobs by yourself? And if that's a yes, then they're like, okay, cool. He can get himself jobs. He's shown he can get himself jobs. So now I can take a chance on him to get him bigger, better jobs.
Which makes a lot of sense. I mean, music, I don't think that like as a casual person that does like, just enjoys films and stuff, like, I mean, there's the Sundance Music there's all these like indie kind of film and festivals and stuff, and I mean, like I can see how like with like musicians, like we'll try our best to get on, like even if there's a music festival that's no one knows about, but it's got a devoted following, and you can get some video of you playing to a packed like crowd or just a crowd that's just reacting to you.
Oh yeah.
Like it's kind of like the same thing with those. It's like yeah, most of those bands aren't making any money. If they are, it's not a lot. It's probably from T-shirt sales or something, or they're selling drugs. I mean, look, we're just saying. I'm not saying we did that. I'm just saying some bands do that. You gotta make gas and food money. But I mean, that makes a lot of sense about where you got to prove that, hey, like I can do the thing that you're looking for. Here's me doing it, and then like you take that and you just push it out to everyone. And like with your agent now, you kind of give it to them, and then they get like a percentage of like getting you booked and things like that.
Yeah. So a real agent, they don't get paid unless they book you something.
Yeah.
So with TV and film, they get 10%. With commercials and like print, I think it's like 15. But when I get paid, I get the rate that they said plus 15 or plus 10%. So that 10-15% goes to my agent.
Okay.
They send the whole thing to my agent, but then my agent sends me the money.
Gotcha.
But with your performance, because you do perform, you do go on stage, so that's so you do have like performing experience. Yes, it's not in front of a screen, in front of it is in front of an audience, kind of like theater, musical theater.
A little bit, yeah.
So you do have to have that energy. You do have to hype the crowd. You do have to like interact a little bit. So you do have like, even if you're not feeling it, you're still like, all right, I'm going out and do the show.
There's times
and that's acting. Like you may not feel like you're like in the moment. You might not feel like you're ready to shoot the scene.
Yeah, dude,
but you're like, it's my job. It's what
job.
I love to do. So like, yo, let's knock this out. And so yeah, you kind of, because backstage, you just chill, and then you're like, all right, you guys are on in 5. So then you get hype, and then you're ready to go.
You gotta flip that switch, and it's on.
So that flipping the switch, that's like comparable to like what we do. So
you make a good point too. There's been times where I'm just like, bro, I've been working all day, and now I gotta go play this club. And then it's like, the best part is like it's like you make a really good point, because it's like, and when you have a good crowd, like we played some smaller shows in college towns where the college kids they don't even know the song, but they're just like, I'm here, we're having a good time, and we're just like, yeah we are, and like you like just, and you feed off of that, and then it's crazy, as soon as you get off stage, you just
crash.
Bro, I'm so tired. And it's like, where did all the energy go? It's like it left, like when they kicked their wind out of the bar. Like, what are you talking about? It's out there now. But I mean, dude, that's insane, because it's like I have had to kind of pretend like, yeah, I am the greatest rock star there ever was, and I gotta make these people believe. I gotta sell that like I am the guy. And sometimes it works, and then sometimes like people just are like, bro, I'm just here to drink. It's like that's okay, Bill. You do your thing. But I mean, like with how many films do you think you've done like so far in your career?
Like filmed with like,
or just like
speaking roles, or like any sets.
Yeah.
I've been on, like, I want to say 300 plus.
Good God.
Because I paid my bills working backgrounds.
Nice.
So yeah, people are like, no, background, that's not acting. I'm like, yeah, it's not technically acting, but you're able to see how a set runs. You get to see and watch the actors behind the scenes, how they react, how they go through the takes. Like watching A-list actors do what they do.
Yeah, you can still get experience.
And you're getting paid for it. So I'm like, I'm getting paid to watch you do your thing. Yes, it might not be the final cut, but I can see your process. I can see the bloopers. I can see like the thought process and how you go from, hey, how's it going, to and action, and then you're in it.
Yeah.
And so just seeing that, getting that back scoop, that behind the curtain look at what people don't see in the final product, you get to see on set working background. But it helps. Background helped me make connections. Like doing indie films, doing films. That's how I met some people that were like, hey, we need an actor for this little short film we're shooting. It's not paid, but you'll get credit. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to take a chance, because honestly, some of the scripts weren't the best.
they're not all like knockouts. Sometimes it's just like, we're gonna have fun with it. See what happens.
And so like doing like student films, indie films, and stuff. Learning how to memorize lines. I'm more of a on set learner, like hands on, because I do take acting classes, but it's harder to. It's one thing to have someone talk to you about what's supposed to happen, and like what your process has to be, or should be, or needs to be, or like how to.
Press the wrong button. Sorry.
It's all right. I was like, I can hear myself really loudly.
Yeah. I was like, I just wanted to peek it up a little bit. Here, if you can, let's
do you want me to swing this?
Yeah, if you can just swing a little closer to you. Twist that knob a little bit.
Wait, away from me or?
Yeah, should loosen it. Bring it down a little bit closer. Here, or here, that bottom one maybe. There's another knob on the bottom right there. Try that one.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah, I got you.
Oh my god, what am I doing? This is why I'm not a sound person.
I got you, bro. The trick is to make it to where it's comfortable for you.
Okay.
But it's like you don't even think about the mic being there.
Yeah, that's better.
It's like it's going to be a little in your face, but
that's fine. I can still see.
Yeah. Exactly. Cool. Perfect. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, like with all the there's no way for me to kind of express like when I see someone perform live, like I'm an audience member. I'm not like a part of the show. If I was like a stagehand or something like that, even for like a concert, getting able to watch someone that's like at the top of the game, like I'd be taking notes all night. Like I've seen the Foo Fighters, I've seen tons of bands. Foo Fighters is definitely my favorite band. I mean, I've seen other concerts. Like I saw Fall Out Boy, which I was not a fan at the time, but dude, they won my respect. Like I saw what they were doing, I was like, these guys are insane. Like what they were pulling off on stage, and I was like, and I'm watching them. I'm like, are you really playing? Or you just? No, he's really playing. Like he just did a cool fill that is not on the record, but I saw it. And I was like, bro, like even like that kind of stuff, like gets me really hyped up and like kind of inspires me. And so I mean, like, is that kind of like the same thing with you?
For sure. Like, cause like, were you front? Like
yeah, I'm front man, singer, yeah.
Well, but like in terms of seeing the concert, were you in the pit?
Okay,
cool. So like you were close.
Yeah.
Okay. So like that. So yeah, it's kind of like I see them. I guess pull off. It's not really pulling off, but them be in the moment.
Yeah.
Like make the character come alive, whether it's just they're using their voice, they're adding an accent or whatever, but it's how they deliver their lines.
Yeah.
And like their pauses or what they don't say or the movements they do, the little subtleties.
Yeah.
That I'm like, okay, so they went from being Jack Black
to
being like the girl. And
oh yeah. Dude, what was that Jumanji?
Yes, I was in Jumanji as well.
Okay,
yeah.
Dude, yeah, I remember seeing that scene where they're in the Rocks pretending to be Chris Rock and Chris. Like I was like, that's some pretty good acting right there because they nailed it. But I mean, like, do you have like if let's say you're the guy, like you can have any role you want. What's like if you're gonna like cast yourself and stuff, like are you like a hero? Do you like playing villains more, or do you like kind of just like a good character overall?
I prefer a good character overall.
Mm.
I would. It's not so much what character I'd like to play; it's who I'd like to co-star with. I'd actually love to work with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah,
because that dude. And also, damn, I can't remember his actual name. Jack Sparrow.
Oh, Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. Yeah, I'd love to work with him because his versatility in the movies that I've watched of his. I'm like going from his voice in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Dude, I didn't even think that was really him.
And then he did it in an interview.
And he just
that
part of me, I was like, these people are either geniuses or psychos. Like how do you just turn that on? Like
he just talking like this and he turned it on. He did the whole Starshine line.
Good morning, sunshine. The star says hello.
Good morning, Starshine.
Dude, I mean, and I've even heard of like there's been actors that do like the method acting. I think it is where they're
like Jared Leto.
Yeah, like he's just the Joker all the time to like be in that character, and I'm like, that would be exhausting.
It's also like it's exhausting, but it's also can make you difficult to work with.
Yeah, that's kind of what I heard about with him. Not only did he play a horrible Joker, but it was just like his co-stars were like, "Bro, why is there a dead rat in my room? Why is there a bunch of who's doing this?" It's like it's Jared. It's like not me, Jared. Not no. I'm a good Jared. Not the subway. Not Jared Leto.
Yeah, there's some actors that are like, I'm not me. I'm the character. So this is who I want to be called for the whole shoot.
The whole shoot, not even just like on set.
Because if they're method, they're in it.
Oh wow.
And so yeah, there's method acting, which I don't practice.
Yeah.
Because yes, it's a great you can put on a great performance or you can completely bomb it.
Yeah.
Which can happen in any any method you use. But the after effects of method acting, because let's see, I was reading about it somewhere. There's one of the actors who was method acting. He cut away from civilization for the longest time, like lived alone with no contact, like months before the shoot. And then
who was it? Do you remember? Because I remember, like when you brought that up, I was like, I can't remember if it was Heath Ledger.
I think it might have been.
Because I mean, he said like he was different. He's like, I have to be this psycho, and like he like went all in on it. And then I mean, there were stories about like he would just pop into set like no one's seen him all day, and then until it's time for him to roll, and then he's surprised. Like there's that scene where he like kind of like he's like there at the dinner party in the Batman Begins or the second Batman movie.
Okay, yeah.
And like people are like, whoa, what is he doing? And he just goes off script and he's like all Joker. He's like, people are like, bro, what are you doing? And that's why everyone looks so scared of the Joker, because they're like, Heath, why do you have a knife out? What are you doing?
Yeah.
But I heard that kind of like it really messed with him because he went to that dark place to like be that character.
Yeah.
But man, that's commitment.
That is commitment, and that's like it's. Is there a safe way to method act? That's the real question.
Yeah.
But then there's also, because I had some acting coaches say, to get in the moment, to get this emotion, like think of a traumatizing something that happened in your past. And I'm like, that's not what I want to do. Like,
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to remember like the negative things that happened in my past, but it's also like, is it time efficient? Because if I have to sit here and try and pull up a memory, and it takes 5 minutes, and production stopped.
Yeah.
So they're paying everybody while I'm just sitting here like I'm thinking. Let me think. I've got to get that memory back up. All right, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Need a couple more minutes. They're all waiting on you.
Yeah.
They're all getting paid. And if you have to do that every time, the director's like, hey, that was good, but hey, try this. Well, let's go in this direction. All right, cool. I need 5 minutes. That builds up.
That 5 minutes is gonna cost some money. And which, I mean, to be fair, I can understand from an artist perspective if it's good, like that's totally worth it. But like, I don't know, I've heard like blooper reels and stuff where people are just like ad-libbing and stuff. And this is like,
improv is fun.
Yeah. Have you gotten to do a lot of that, or you getting the space to do it?
Oh yeah, I got to improv on a horror movie that I did recently.
Okay.
First time improving, so
how'd you feel about it? Did it go well?
I thought it was fun. It honestly don't think it was my best work, but I'm like highly critical of everything I do. Kind of like like a lot of the actors hate watching themselves on screen, and because I just pick apart things.
My face looks funny. I twitched my eyes. Like, dude,
and I'm like,
yeah. For the first time, you're like, I'm horrible. Why am I singing? And it's like, so I can totally feel it when you see yourself on the screen. Like,
yeah, and I'm like, I should have made this other choice, but in the moment, I'm like, I was so stuck on one choice. So that's something I've been working on, is trying to think outside the box, make better or bolder choices, instead of just sticking with the safe choice. But like doing improv, it's a lot of fun. It's just me and my co-star is also the cameraman too. So it was a found footage, so I was the cameraman and the actor.
Oh wow.
So that was a lot of fun. But it was we'd have the script in front of us and we'd have our lines, but the director who wrote it, he was like, hey, look, my English isn't the best. But this is the scripts, these are the main points. Like, but like improv, as long as you kind of
These like general
yeah
zones, like I'll be happy with.
yeah. And so we'd run the lines back and forth until we got the gist of what the scene was about and like just the flow of the scene, and then we just improv, which was a lot of fun. Especially for my first time, I was like, what am I doing? But it was like 7 days
Really?
of improv. We filmed like 40 pages.
Wow.
So
I just feel like that would be more fun. Like I mean, maybe it's just because I don't like to study and read and stuff. Like I definitely know I'm that kind of person. Seabass is like, Jared, did you prepare for this? I was like, kind of. It's like, nope. It's like, Jared, you should probably like check out. It's like I looked up all the movies on his profile. It's like, we'll get to that. It's like, you should maybe you want to write down some points. And I'm like, nah, bro, I got it. It's fine. But I mean, like, dude, that's just like I feel like when I hear about it, like I see a movie that, and then I find out later that scene was totally improv. Like it's maybe it's just the retrospect of looking back on it. It's like that's why it was so real, because it was just them in the moment and things like that. And I mean, in a recording studio, that's the beautiful part of a recording studio. It's not the same as playing live, so it's not just either you did it or it just flubbed.
yeah.
And you can see like the bar on the Rockstar screen just slowly going down, and it's like in the studio though, it's so hard to kind of build up, especially like singing wise. I'm very critical. Like you said, when you first saw yourself on film, like, and like the first time you hear yourself through some studio speakers, you're just like, oh god, this is garbage. And you don't want to have a bunch of like filters and stuff. I'll use pitch correction and stuff to kind of make sure it's like a little more perfect than what I could do, especially if it's a really good take. But I mean, dude, it's in a studio. You have time to like really cultivate exactly what you want, and it's just you, and like you're paying for the time, and like the engineer and the studio guys like, bro, I'm not against you. You want to do as many takes as you want, you can do it. But on a film thing, I can see it being a little different.
Well, film, that's the thing that's what's different with film compared to theater. Theater is just one giant take.
Yeah.
So that's where a lot of improv comes in, is because if you forget your lines, your stage mates have to kind of be like, oh, weren't you gonna say, what are you here for again? Like, what are you? And they try and throw little hints,
Just kind of lead it
and
along.
then you're like, oh yeah, and then you find your line or you remember your line, and you guys roll with it or whatever.
Yeah.
With film, you can do multiple takes. Yes, you'll eventually piss off the director, who's like, this is take 55. Like, we gotta keep moving.
Yeah.
Like, either you got it or you don't. Or he's like, all right, that's good enough. That's never good. That's never good. You're like, all right, we'll take that. I don't want to take that though. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
So it's also like having a good director who's like, that was good. Try this. Or like, that didn't really work. How about trying to go in this different direction with it, or let's try that take again, but with this different mindset, or and that really helps with a director who's like, hey, yeah, a director that I feel comfortable being like, hey, can I try something different?
Yeah.
Because some directors, since I'm new to the professional acting, to like speaking lines and stuff, having the courage to be like, can I try something?
Like, I have an idea.
Yeah, I'm like, yes, I've done 5 takes this way. I guess you've liked it.
Yeah.
I guess you haven't said no, but I just thought of something. Like, what if I tried this? And that's really nerve wracking for me. Or speaking up, because I wouldn't be SAG eligible right now if my background, the girl whose background with me on Black Panther hadn't spoken up. So we were on Black Panther. I was one of the blue guys, the Talokians, and I was Neymar's bodyguard, and so was she. And we just showed up as background. We were hired from background. We had just come off set from Guardians of the Galaxy, and we got borrowed for Black Panther. And so we were on set, just did background stuff the first day. Second day, it was like 10 o'clock p.m. that we've been filming for like 10 hours. Basically, have you seen the movie?
Yeah.
So when the Talokians capture the Wakandians and bring them down to the caves, So we're the bodyguards. We walk up with food. The scene was cut
Oh.
from the movie. But so we walk on set with the food or whatever to the Wakandians. We leave. The Wakandians kill some Talokians and escape. We come running back in. Neymar's like, "Hey, gather the troops. We're going to war." For the past day and a half, we just nodded our heads and ran off set. She speaks up. It's like, "Hey, what if we did a war cry?"
Just
And so he's like, the director's like, yeah, let's do that. Went over to the Mayan translator because they're speaking Mayan. So went to the Mayan translator and was like, "Hey, what war cry would you do in this scenario?" And so he did the war cry, and they're like, "Yeah, let's do that." So mic'd us up. We did the war cry, did like 10 takes, and they're like, "Hey, thanks, go take a break." We go sit down. The director and PA come up to us and like, "Hey, we need to talk to you for a minute." And we're like, "Oh, what did we do?" Like,
I didn't touch it. I swear, I didn't steal any props.
And they're like, "Congratulations, you're cast."
Nice.
Because we mic'd you up. It wasn't just any war cry, it was Mayan. And because that's what everyone's in the film speaking Mayan, that was technically a line. So boom, you're cast. And so that's how I got SAG eligible, which was awesome. It's really rare to be bumped up from background, much less on a huge movie like this.
Yeah.
But because I was on Guardians and I was about to say no to going to Black Panther, because I was like, because I knew the extras casting directors on both sets.
Yeah.
And I was already booked for 3 months, 4 months on Guardians of the Galaxy, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna take you for a few days. I'm like, "Can I still go back to Guardians?" Because I'm like, sometimes they're finicky about going back. I'm like, I kind of need the money, so
yeah, it's like I don't want to lose out if I don't have to. Yeah.
So like, no, like we're both co-working on this together, so yeah, we'll just borrow you, send you back. I'm like, all right, awesome.
So it's all Marvel Studios.
Yeah, but it was like completely different areas of the city. So and also like it just depends on because if you're seen in a scene that they're shooting on Guardians and they want like to be what's that word
they just wanted all the kind of
they wanted all to flow,
some continuity or whatever.
That's the word.
Okay,
thank you.
Like,
continuity.
I was like, this is an SAT word. I don't know if I did.
So yeah, like for continuity purposes, like I'm like, will I mess up the scenes if I'm not there? And like, oh wait, we can ask, but I don't think there are enough of you. I'm like, all right, cool. So had I said no, someone else would have been in my place. She's probably still would have spoken up.
And that person, yeah,
would have, yep.
Dude, I mean,
so
that's awesome though. Out of all the like, kind of going back to like getting to watch other people, like, is it like I guess like just the idea when I picture a movie set, it's like you got the background, the set, and then there's all the cameras and like all the people behind with all the screens and tables and everything. Like, do you get to like sit on set and watch people, or do they kind of like shoo you guys off?
While I'm on set, you can watch.
Yeah.
But if you're backgrounds, they kind of are like,
hey, don't want to be too crowded.
But if you're cast, you can kind of wander. But you usually have like a personal assistant or PA with you to keep track of you.
Yeah. Especially when it's stuff like, hey, so and so's coming back in this scene, and we can't let it get out that someone they survived that last movie.
Well, yeah, if you're cast, they're like, that's fine. But backgrounds, it's also just because as backgrounds, you're not supposed to talk to the actors. You can, if they speak to you and say hi, you can respond.
Yeah, but they don't want people.
But they don't want.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could get that.
So, which is really weird, being background and being on the other side and being cast, and then talking to the background and not telling them that I'm cast. And I'm just talking to them like, hey, like, how long you been acting? Like, yeah, we want to be actors. We're doing background, trying to get our foot in. We're trying to, like, yeah, get on Actors Access. Like what I'm telling you now, like, get on Actors Access, apply to student film, get your resume up. Don't give up.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, awesome. Thanks for that. We'll see you on set. And so they got called to set for background, and they're like, all right, first team. So I walk out, and they're like,
oh. Wait a second.
They're like,
hold on.
They're like, I'm so sorry. Like, I wasn't supposed to talk. I'm like, I don't want to get in trouble. Like, I'm so sorry for talking to you. I'm like, bro, I talked to you first. Like, it's fine.
I'd be upset if I talked to you and you didn't say anything. I'd be offended.
But I'm like, I was background 5 days ago.
Yeah.
I just happened to be cast on this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I'm still the same person I was on background that I am here.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm treated way different, but I'm still the same person. And so I'm like, no matter, that's what's important. And that's why I love some of the actors I've met, is because they're the same people that you see in everyday life.
Yeah.
And like, yes, they're a different character, but once they say cut, they're back to,
They flip it off,
yeah,
and they're like, "I'm just a normal guy now."
like Jack Black.
Yeah.
He's himself.
Well,
He just,
the thing I was going to ask is like, just kind of like, because that's like when I think of like a film studio or a set, I was like who's like some of the people like you've gotten to see? Like, is there anyone that like comes to mind that you're just like, wow, now that I know what that person is doing, like, or seeing their like them act. Is there like anyone like a performance that you've gotten to watch that really sticks out to you? It's like just like that. That's the stuff.
um,
I know you gotta go through like 300 sets, so I'm like,
yeah. I want to say, it's not so much like, for Jack Black, it wasn't so much like the performance he put on, but it was just his energy and his easygoing manner and like how he treated everyone. I'm like, cause our call time was 3 a.m. and I'm wearing 60 pounds of armor.
Jesus, 3 a.m. in Atlanta.
Yep. And we were sitting there and we're dead. And he comes in, takes his stand in offset 30 minutes early. And his stand in's like, hey, Mr. Black, you know, you don't have to be here for 30 minutes. He's like, no, I'm good. Go take a break. And then he looks at us and he's like, you guys look exhausted. And we're like, yeah. And he's like, I'll fix that. He turns his phone on and he starts singing and headbanging. That every single day.
Wow.
Just like getting the vibes up, getting the energy up. And I'm like, that helped us throughout the day. And just his energy. Yes, it wasn't him performing,
but it was him.
But it was him, yeah. And it's just his energy and his like, his fun energy and just his joy to be there was just infectious.
That's a hard thing to find in some people. It's
yeah,
like they're just there to work. It's like, no, I'm here to have the best time I can.
Yeah, and if you love what you do, you know, like that's what's important. Like for you, like you love what you do. You love, yeah. Even though you're exhausted, you love what you do. So you go out there and you give it 100%.
Yeah.
And so, if you're just there for the money, it's gonna be disappointing.
Yeah, you're gonna be worn out quicker than the guy that's there having fun.
Oh yeah. Like, but in terms of like the performance, I want to say Rosario Dawson, because she did like a monologue. I forgot what set and what movie it was, but it was filming right above underground Atlanta.
Okay.
They had, and so like we had all just like escaped, like nearly getting wiped out by the U.S. military or something.
Okay.
And she was like raising our hopes and like our morale, and it was just her intensity, and then her like she'd pick out people in the crowd and like talk to them with the lines, and she'd make eye contact, and she'd be there and like she'd draw you in.
You're like, I'm ready to fight,
right? And so she's like, for the first few takes, she's like, yeah, I'm looking around to see like who's engaged, and like if you're engaged, you and I'll make eye contact with you and I'll be talking to you for a couple lines and then I'll move on. But you know, if I see that you're like engaged, like I'll engage with you.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. Just like her, every single take had that same energy. And it's hard when you do 30, 40 takes.
Oh yeah.
It's gotta, you're like,
how it's not the feel like it's the first time you're saying it with that like that gusto or whatnot.
And it's like, and like, yeah, she'd change little things in what she'd say, like her inflections or whatever.
Sure.
And you know, she'd be trying some different things out, but it was still like you felt like you're at the end of the world and you're about to like go to war.
Oh,
and like, or you just won. And it was so inspiring because I saw her on Zombieland. I didn't know the season of Zombieland because I had to look it up because someone came up and gave me a hug and was like, "Hey, you look awesome as a zombie." As we were getting on the bus, I was like, "Wait, who was that?"
Wait a second, hold on.
And so I looked up. I was like, "Oh, that was Rosario Dawson." I was like, "Oh, okay." Um, so I felt really bad. I didn't recognize her when she came up and gave me a hug, but then that way it wasn't like freaking out.
Yeah.
So just like, "Oh, thank you. You know, this is awesome." Like,
Had a normal person to person
yeah.
interaction kind of thing.
Oh man, you guys are gonna die if I tell you about how I met Clint Eastwood.
How did you meet a good? Hold on, I'm ready to die. I've lived a good life. How'd you meet the man, the myth, the legend himself?
So we were filming Richard Jewell about the the bombing in the Olympics.
Yeah.
So we were filming at Centennial Olympic Park.
Oh yeah.
There were about 3,000 to 5,000 backgrounds, and me and my buddies we were just chilling on the hill, just waiting between takes. And this old guy walks up. Like I'm just talking to my buddies. I feel a hand on my shoulder. I turn around. It's this old guy. And he's like, "Hey man, love the hair, love the outfit. Thanks for being here. You're killing it. Look amazing." And I was like, "Oh man, thanks. You know, I'm having a blast. I'm happy to be here. This is."
Wandered off.
I was like, "This is great. Like I'm having a blast." And I almost said, "I'm glad you're here too," but I'm like, I don't know this guy, so I'm not gonna say that. He's like, "Well, keep doing what you're doing. You look amazing. Love the hair, love the outfit. You're killing it. Thanks for being here." Walks off. I turn to my guys. I'm like, "Who was that old guy? Like, they're like, are you serious?" I'm like, "No. Like, who was he?" They're like, "You're a fucking idiot."
It's like that was.
And I was like, "What?" And they're like, "That was Clint Eastwood." And I was like, I just.
To your defense, if you'd have like immediately recognized you, you know, just total starstruck, like, dude. But that's on par with everything I've heard about Clint. Like, he's a great human being. He's a national treasure.
Like he was so nice.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yo, he talked to you out of like 3,000 people." And I was like, "I guess so." Like he was really genuine, really nice. And I was like, "Wow, that's how I met him." I didn't like freak out. I didn't say anything weird, thankfully. Yeah. If I had said I'm glad you're here too, I wonder how that conversation would have went.
Like, well, they're paying me to be here, so
right. And then I've been like, "Wait, they're paying you to be?" Then, oh man, I probably would have been like, "Are you background?" And then that would have.
Dude, I mean, he'd probably been like, "No, son, I'm not," but good joke. You know, I'm sure he would take it in stride. But
that would have been so bad. I would have been so embarrassed.
Dude, that's funny because my granddad, he worked security at the Olympics that year, and he was like, "Yeah, they called me over to go to this other spot, and that's." Like, so they literally asked him to go, like, be like, you know, he wasn't in security, like, he was just a helping staff person. Yeah. But he, like, literally got moved further away from where the bombing happened. So when it went off, he's like, "What? Wait, what? What's happening?" And it was just like, it's funny you bring up that movie because when that all came out, he's like, "You know, I was there." I was like, "What do you mean you were there?" It's like, "You mean almost died?" Like, I almost didn't be here. He's like, "No, it was close." It was like,
it was close.
Well, it was 96, so it's like I was already born then. But he's like, "Yeah," it was like, I was there. So it's like that's crazy, man. I mean, dude, I've seen his
because I knew what he looked like because I've seen some of his movies.
Yeah.
So I know what he looks like. I just didn't know what he looked like presently.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't expecting. Plus, there's like so many people. So I have like ADHD, so I'm like all over. Yeah. And so I was like talking to my guys, and all of a sudden this guy tapped me on the back. So I'm like, all right, so I gotta remember what conversation I had with them. All right, cool. Hey man, you know, how's it going? He's like, "Man, love you look." I'm like, "Oh, awesome, man. Appreciate you." Like, you know. So yeah, I saw his face, but it didn't register.
Dude, I wish he would have said, "Like, glad you're here too." Like, that would have been so funny to hear what his response would have been.
Like I'm like, I don't think he would have been mad. He would have been confused. It's like, you don't know me? Like, I'm the director of this film.
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, it's like, I mean, but dude, that's the funny part. It's like, and on top of that, like, until you see like people in like on interviews or like in real life, like even some of the interviews, like people, the makeup, like they're in a character, so they're like, that's, especially once the movie's wrapped up and everything, they're probably not going to be wearing their hair the same way or wearing the same style.
Like, you saw my picture of on Instagram, like completely blue.
Dude, I was like, all right, Luke, looking good. I mean, dude, I was like, I know for a fact those muscles ain't CGI. He worked for those babies, like.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, because they were like, "Yeah, can you flex so we can like highlight those so they look bigger?" Yeah. And I was like, so I would just stand there for like, just full flex. It's like, because we'd get on set at like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And we'd have 3.5 hours of makeup. And so they're like, hey, we're about to do your back, about to do your arms. Can you like flex a little bit? And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, you know. And then I saw myself on the screen, like, because they did a playback. I'm like, bro. I'm like, all right.
I'm happy with the way I looked that time. Well, it's like Seabass, he'll bring in like I'm like, he comes in with the bands and he gets a quick little pump, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
Seabass, you're not even technically. I mean, you're allowed to have a camera, but it's just like, I gotta get the pump just in case, man.
Hey, I never know week to week if I'm on camera or off camera, so
Yeah,
I
that's
just gotta make sure.
Yeah, you gotta be
you
ready.
gotta make sure, just in case. You gotta make sure that I mean, dude, and it's funny because I mean, I've been guilty of doing some push-ups just to make sure right before I go on stage, I got just just a little.
Everybody does.
I mean,
everybody does.
Like
unless you're already, if you're like The Rock or Dave Bautista, and you're already like.
It's like he's got it's like those kind of guys. Like we were talking about that too. Like they have to be so miserable getting down to that like 0.3 body fat, and then they got to sit on set at 3 a.m. or like whenever they get call time. Like, oh, dude, like have you had to like cut or like change like your body like shape for a role, or like just like
not yet. Not yet. I haven't.
He's willing. He can do it. I vouch for him.
I will cut my hair for the right role.
Yeah, because I mean, you got some flow. Seabass too. He's rocking the long hair with you.
Because like if I had been offered the role of on the live action Lilo and Stitch,
okay.
Because if I have short hair and I've got my necklace, I look just like I forgot what David on Lilo and Stitch.
I feel like it was David or Johnny.
I think it was David. I look just like David, Lilo and Stitch.
Hey man.
And so I was like, if I get that audition, if I get offered the role, I will cut my hair for this role.
Could they even do like a wig with you? It's like with that much hair. It's like
on Jungle Cruise they did.
Yeah.
They gave me a bowl cut.
Yeah, I was about to say it's like I was looking through some of the pictures. I'm like,
yeah.
Is that when he had shorter hair? It's just like because I mean that's the
on Jungle Cruise when I like painted up with a. Yeah, they took all my hair and put it under a bowl cut wig. They wanted me and this other guy to have our hair down because like, yo, you got beautiful hair.
Yeah.
But the director was like, you've got to match everybody else. So they put a wig on. Man, so many pins and alligator clips. It was like 30 or 40.
Jesus.
And that's like 12. It hurt after 14 hours of filming.
Yeah, just sitting on your head like that. I mean, dude, like, but that makes sense. Like, I could totally see like if you do the hair like Johnny, it's like, or David. It's like a Lilo and Stitch. It's like, bro, that. I mean, I get that. Like, that's like a big role. But
yeah, like since I am Islander, then I'm like, yeah, I'll definitely cut my hair, and it'll grow out. Like, but yeah, doing a role like that, I'm like, why not?
Yeah. I mean, because I've heard of like actors. It's like, do you remember the big debacle with Henry Cavill and the mustache?
I'm not sure.
So he was doing Superman, and he did, or I think it was Justice League. Was it? You know what I'm talking about?
No, I'm not familiar with it.
So the whole thing is basically he was doing Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise and everybody, and he had a glorious mustache. I mean, top notch. But then he was also doing some scenes for I want to say it was Man of Steel or it was either Justice League.
Okay.
And so there was like a couple scenes in there that the overlap. They're like, hey man, we really don't like for just so that he looks the same. We don't want him to have to regrow a mustache or us constantly having to tape one on and stuff. And so like, all right. And so they CGI'd it and stuff out of him as Superman. And there's like, until someone pointed it out, not many people noticed, but it looked like his lip was just, like there was something going on with his face. But until people started pointing out that's like, he technically, like he's on set with his mustache as Superman. Just like, I don't know how people like keep it together. Like there's like, nice stash, Superman. It's like, so like that kind of thing with like the hair and all these other things. I've even heard of actors, or I want to say, I'm forgetting her name, but she was in Jumanji and she played the blue girl in.
Oh, Karen Gillian.
Yes, Karen Gillian.
Yeah.
Like seeing her like with Nebula, like, and then you see her as like the beautiful like all the hair and stuff. I'm like,
yeah, it was crazy because I saw her on Jungle Cruise. I saw her on Jumanji.
Yeah.
As Karen Gillian. But then I saw her on Guardians of the Galaxy. And it's so weird because the voice is Karen's, but the face is just completely blue. It's got everything on it, and I'm like, "That's Karen, though."
It's like, who are you?
It was so cool, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's the kind of stuff that like casuals like me that they don't really. I don't want to say that like we don't respect it. We're not aware of all the stuff that they go through to do those kinds of things. So I
Cause
mean,
yeah, like longest I've done is like 3.5, 4 hours of makeup and like
Jeez.
2.5 hours of hair.
yeah.
Like that was Black Panther. Like they put my hair up and all that stuff, added like the earrings, the gills.
How they do the gills? Was it just like they had like the rubber pieces or like?
So like the gills, it was like a stick-on tattoo kind of thing. So they
Okay.
wetted it down, and then they just like took off. They peeled it off, and the gills are here.
Mm,
But then that whole face piece was like rubber that they like glued on.
yeah.
But the earrings were magnetic, and those hurt
Oh,
so bad.
Because I was about to say like, it's like, hey man, like, didn't you have like I feel like there was a lot like you got like, are your ears pierced normally? Or
Yes,
like,
they're pierced normally, but those things were so heavy, and they didn't have earrings. They're like we only have magnetic.
So they just clipped on. Like,
So they just put them on, just let them snap together, and then they keep sliding off, cause like I'd be moving my head, and they'd swing and like yank on my ear and like slide off, and I was like, this hurts.
It's like just,
But I'm like, if I touch them, and they come off, then you have to go through the whole
reset 'em.
process of again, and like that wasn't bad. It was like it was uncomfortable,
Yeah.
but I'm like, this is fun.
Yeah, it's
like
this isn't the worst.
Yeah, especially because background, yeah, it was a little rough.
Hmm.
Because background, you're the bottom of the totem pole, to be honest. But then when we became cast, it was like a whole 180 switch on how we got treated. We'd walk out when we walked into set as background. They're like, "What's your name?" "Oh, your background. Sit over there. Be quiet."
Yeah, sit there till we call you.
Yeah, and then we were cast like, "Oh, hey, we got your tent ready. We got the AC going. You know, we got your makeup team ready to check on you if you need it. What robe do you want? What slippers do you want? We can bring like 2 or 3 options if you want to set. Hey, what jacket do you want to wear while on set?" And like we had like 3 those long black jackets, and they're like, "Which one do you like? Which one do you prefer? We can bring like both of them if you want." And so we were on set, and like right before we were rolling, we had our coat person. They'd run up, and they're like, "No, don't even put your arm through it. Just put your arm to your side," and they draped it over our shoulder.
Nice.
And then they're like, "And sound," and they're like, right before they call action, they're like, and they take the jacket and run off set, and then you do the thing, and then they're like, as soon as they cut, they run on, put the jacket on.
Wow.
And it was just like that, and I'm like, the switch, because yesterday y'all wouldn't even look at us, and today you're like, do you want water? Do you want the jacket? Are you guys ready to shoot again? If not, hey, we can tell production to wait. I'm like, wait, this is a thing? Like,
so this is what it's like. Okay, like
I
I
like,
get used to this.
They're like, you want snacks? I'm like, yeah. They're like, I'm like, I can walk with it. Oh no, we'll take the van. We'll bring the van in, and we'll drive you around the corner.
Wow.
Yeah, because
That's
we're like
awesome.
background. We had it's still during COVID, so we had to go get COVID tests. So as background, we just got in the back of a golf cart and got driven over there. But then when we were cast, they brought a Sprinter van for each of us. So I had my whole van to myself, and we drove over there, got the COVID test, got back in, drove back.
Yeah, that's the craziness that I can only imagine. Because one of my buddies, Scott, he did a couple movies and he did some indie films. The one that one of my favorites was he did this film called Black Bear.
Okay.
And it's on Amazon and stuff. Scott Pryor, shout out to you, brother. It was a whirlwind of a film. And then it's like, what's really cool and the thing I respect about him, I worked with him on a couple songs and stuff that he's been working on. He did the entire thing like DIY, like indie.
Wow.
Like he brought in people. He had a great network of friends and people that were in the industry. But he did a pretty good job for like when he tells you, it's like, yeah, we didn't have a great budget, and it's like he puts out how much he spent on the film. I'm like, bro, for what you had, like you did a really good job.
Oh yeah.
Tulsa was another film that he did. It was more like, I hate to say like the Christian-y film, but it did definitely have that underlying theme of it.
Yeah.
But it was great, and it was just like I'm like, dude, you just put this thing on. And he's like, and then he talks about all the stuff that went into like the production and like all those things, and then he's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna be a singer now. And then that's how I met him, is when he wanted to become a singer, and like he's out there getting after it and everything. And it's just, but like the way he talked about like the sets and how like he like filming on location. Like I think they went out to I can't remember what it was, like I want to say maybe it was Arizona, Texas, or somewhere that had like a little bit more of a desert scene.
Oh, that would be fun. Cause I had an audition to go out and be a Native American and like horseback ride.
Oh yeah.
And at that time, I didn't have horseback riding experience. So then after I had that audition, I was like, wait, I want to get horseback riding experience. So I started working at the Georgia Ren Fair at the joust.
Yeah.
And so I got horseback riding, sword fighting experience, got to practice shooting my bow off horses and stuff. And so now I can be like, I can ride horses. So I can add that to my resume. So it's just like you just add bits and pieces as you go.
Yeah.
But no, it's like working indie films and stuff. Like, yes, sometimes the quality isn't the best. Sometimes the script's not the best. But I'm like, I'm just happy to be here doing what I love. Like, yes, I might not be able to use it in my reel, but I got experience. I got to practice. I got to hone the craft. I got to be better than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
Or I got to learn more than I knew yesterday. Because even if it's, hey, you know, I felt more comfortable delivering my lines. I was able to make better choices. I was able to get in the moment, be in the moment, and not worry about like what to say, or it didn't sound like I was just saying lines back, and it felt genuine and real. And like that's the hard part, is when you have lines, trying to, or at least for me, like, all right, this is my character, because like as a character, like you can either, for me, I find myself in the character, or I'll find little bits of myself in the character. But which reminds me of for Deadpool, I was watching like the interviews, and he's like, no, I play myself.
Yeah.
In all my films.
He's like, I'm Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. And so like that's who he plays, and like so it's not acting, it's him, and that's why it's genuine, is because it's him.
Yeah, and it's such a marriage made in, I wouldn't say heaven, but it's like
he'd say in hell.
Yeah, it's
but
it's a marriage made in hell, and it's like, but I find fun in it. It's like,
yeah,
it's just like, dude, and he nails it. I mean, like, have you seen the new one by chance already?
No, I haven't yet. I want to see it.
Yeah,
but it's just like, that's where good acting comes from, is if you can just be, and like you're not thinking about becoming a character. And that's what's hard, is being like, all right, do I have to act different? But then once you add acting different, the camera picks up that you're acting.
Yeah.
Then it's not real.
Like that little stutter between like words and stuff. It's like,
well, like the stutter can be normal.
Yeah.
But once the camera can see that you're not in the moment, and you're trying to pretend and trying to act like you think you're supposed to be acting, then the camera's like, that's fake.
Yeah.
And that's when things bomb. And that's when I watch myself, and I'm like, yeah, I was out of it on that moment. And like, even if the rest of it was good, I'm like, I was out. Like it was like dead in the eyes or whatever.
Like,
I was like,
I love you, Jenny. And it's like, I don't feel like you do.
Right? And I was like, I'm like, Luke, I don't believe you. Like, this isn't believable. And I'm like, so that's why a lot of, yes, I have a lot of indie student film credits, and but since I like being hands-on, learning, practicing, honing my crafts, a lot of my earlier work was pretty.
Hey, some of these first podcasts, they weren't the greatest, but we had fun doing them. But yeah, I mean,
same thing with auditions, like trying to do auditions and like be real with the audition, instead of being like, I'm looking at a camera and I've got 4 lines and my fiance is reading the lines to me and I'm responding, and I know exactly what the lines are, so how do I act like I'm not hearing these lines? I haven't memorized all this. So I'm like, I want it to be like a genuine conversation like you and I are having. Like, we don't have the next word scripted.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I'm going to say next. You don't know what you're going to say next. And that's why it's genuine. That's why it's real.
Yeah.
And that's so hard for me to find when you have a script and you're like, all right, I say this, they say this, I say this, they say this. And like, you're like, okay, I know what's coming next. How do I make that real?
Yeah.
You know? How do I make people believe that I haven't memorized this whole page and I'm actually having a real conversation instead of just regurgitating lines? And that's where sometimes improv comes in, where, you know, you can add, as long as you have the same idea, the the idea of what you're gonna say, you can add little something, little fillers or whatever in, as long as you get the point across. Because writers will get pissed off.
It's like, hey man, I wrote that. You didn't
Yeah.
say it.
Which is crazy because I found out like writers, it goes through so many things, so many different cuts and rewrites and everything to get on the page that finally gets in front of you.
Yeah.
And so all that work that writer did just for you to be like, nope, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna say this instead.
Yeah, it's like I want to strangle you. What comes to mind is Chris Pratt when they were talking about like some of those improvs he did.
Yes, I think I watched that interview.
Yeah, the writer's like, yeah, like Andy, his character's on the computer.
Yeah, he's just like,
and he's like, it says that.
yeah, I just Google it
into
Google or into like something that says you might have a connectivity problem.
And the writer's like, damn it, that was genius. Why did I think it? It's like,
he was so mad.
Yeah,
he frustrated their whole team of writers. There was an interview with like 3 or 4 of them that came out and said our best lines were all his improv, and it's stupid.
It's like we were doing our best, but he just like, it kind of like you're saying, he kind of took that moment and just owned it. And it's like, what would Andy say? It's like, it says you have connectivity issues, and it's just everyone's laughing and oh my god, like that kind of stuff is really interesting.
The whole comeback story.
Oh yeah,
that
like,
was.
Kim Kardashian had to come back all over back.
Then since he slaps them, they all just fall out.
Oh, dude, and I mean, like, you got to take that risk to make it, because I mean,
Yeah,
obviously that won't get on TV,
but that's the thing is like to have, I guess, the balls to do that, because like I don't. If I was in that scenario, that's not the first thing I'd be thinking of. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, all right, I'm gonna just stick to the script, and like that's where I've got growth to do, is because like I need to work on. Like, cause that's improv. So being able to like think on your feet and be so comfortable with the character that you're not method acting, but
it's like Andy would say this.
Yeah.
Dwight would say this. Whatever like character it is, and I think that comes to like character. But like with this, like the one thing you can improv on is definitely like fight scenes and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's so much fun.
Yeah.
And that's what I had practice with at the Ren Fair, because we came up with our own choreo.
Really?
Yep. So all our choreo, all the fights that you see at the Georgia Ren Fair, we literally come up with it an hour and a half before.
Like every show's a little different, or it's like you kind of like do it. And
so some of the nights fights are the same, but if you're a squire and you want to have a fight, you've got to come up with your own choreography, do it in front of the head knight, and they're like, all right, cool, that's safe, that looks good, speed it up a little bit, all right, that looks awesome, yeah, we'll put it in a fight.
Yeah.
Because sometimes there's like not enough. Like this past summer, there was 2 nights for the show. And there was like 7 squires, so each night had to fight like 4 people. So that's a long fight. That's a lot of different moving parts. So if my buddy was there with me, we could have taken 2 people off their hands, and we could have killed each other off. Or we could have I could have fought him, killed him, fought another squire, killed each other, whatever.
Yeah.
And play that off. And so, but since those squires are new, they're not trusted with
sharp swords, pokey sticks.
Yeah, so they'll give them wooden swords, which, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm not comfortable coming up with the choreo with you if I know that you don't really know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't trust me to be swinging a big metal like object at you. Just like, do you want me to go like this? And it's just like, yes, oh god. God, yeah.
But yeah, it's like an hour and a half. We're like, hey, shoulder, leg, but like we'll throw a punch and like you gotta sell it.
Yeah.
But we also have blood packs. We're fighting with blood packs in our hands.
Oh, okay.
That's where the blood comes from.
Okay.
So like not this past summer, the summer before, me and my buddy Joshua Halen, we came up with our fight, and it was an awesome fight because we could take parts out, put parts in, and like either I could kill him, he could kill me, we could kill each other.
You kind of kept it fresh, yeah.
So like we could be like, all right, we could do just the first part of the fight and then just the end, or we could do start at the middle and go to the end. So it was so interchangeable that they're like, yeah, we love that fight. Like we can put you wherever. So if we need you to fight other people, we can be like, all right, just do that first part.
Yeah.
And then go.
The first phase, and then we'll come back in phase 3, and then we'll end it on like let's actually do like the 4th part. Like, dude, I love that.
Yeah, and so we'd have our blood packs. So I'd be swinging. I have a blood pack, double-handed sword, and I'd be swinging. So then, if I got disarmed, and like I disarm him, like one of the ending of the fights, I'd rip his throat out.
Ooh.
So I had the blood pack in my hand, and I wrapped my hand around his throat, and then he'd hold on my wrist, and I'd pick him up, and then as I got him almost to his feet, I just squeeze the blood pack and pull out and just spurt the blood everywhere. And then I got my head smashed because I had 2 blood packs. He gave me one when I was on the ground. I already had one in my hand, so I brought it up to my eyes. He'd squeeze my head, and I'd blow the ones for my eyes. And then
Oh, you're good. No worries.
And then he'd blow the ones on my ears, so it looked like my head exploded.
Oh,
and
see,
then
that's the kind of cool stuff that you don't see, like, or you don't know it. You're like, wow, oh my gosh.
And then like someone else got scalped, so they had a blood pack in the hand that's holding the hair, and they'd squeeze that as So there's so much, like, when you got stabbed or sliced across the stomach, you like bend over, and then as they pull the sword, you blow the blood packs. The blood would like yeah.
I mean, dude.
And the fact that you guys don't, the audience doesn't see it, and they're like, "Wait, you had blood packs?
You're
like, how do you guys make that?" I'm like, literally blood packs, and the fact that it wasn't visible and people couldn't see us exchanging it and pulling out of our pockets and everything, like, that was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, because I've heard of like with like wrestling and stuff, like they talk about like sometimes they'd have like, well, I've heard with wrestling like in the old days, like they'd have like they'd hide razor blades and stuff, and they just like a little cut on the forehead, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, like you guys don't, but it's like someone gets hit with a chair, and wipes their forehead, and they just got like a giant like paint smear of blood, and it's like, but I mean, dude, like the stuff at the like
because it's not paint, it's like
syrup or something.
Yeah, it's syrupy blood, so they mix it in the back and tie it up in the little bags. So we make like 20 or 30 before the show, or how many we need. But yeah, it's actually I think up in Maryland or one of the shows up north. He actually, since we get so close to each other when we're doing hand-to-hand fighting, he one of the knights actually like hit his head on the pommel of the other guy's sword, and it was sharp, and so it looked like he had blown a blood pack, but actually his blood running down his face. So he does have a scar on his forehead, but he's like, it looked good, so we just ran with it.
Hey man, it's good, don't stop.
Yeah, so he's like, when I was killing them, I was like, hey, you good? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. Like, a head hurts a little bit, but he's like, yeah, I think I cut you a little bit, but yeah, but it's like you did to yourself. You kind of, instead of like going back with it, you kind of went forward and then back, and the pommel just nicked him a little bit.
Yeah, because that's the thing with those kind of things. I mean, like, one of the stories, I love Lord of the Rings, and everyone talks about, like, oh, yeah, that's when he kicked the helmet of the orc, he broke his toe. And then, like, another one was the guy that had the orc suit on in the second movie. He, like, pulls the knife out of his chest and whatever, but he's, like, makeup, the prosthetics, all this stuff, and so he couldn't really see, but he knows he's supposed to throw the knife at, like, Aragorn.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, he's there, want to aim there, but it was like, he's like, I can't really see, so I'm just going to aim high, and he didn't aim high enough, and then like when he knocks the knife out of the way, it's like, no, I was really about to get hit with a knife. Like, it might not be sharp, but it was like, you threw like a chunk of metal at me, bro. But then he like perfectly knocked it out of the way, so it was like, run it, perfect. Like that's the take.
Because he became a master swordsman.
Yeah,
for the film. He was like, he became a master swordsman. The horse that Aragorn rode in the film, he kept, because they made such a bond.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's the thing about like with those like those skills that you learn.
Yeah.
Like would you like consider like doing like stuntman is like a whole other industry kind of thing. It's not like a stuntman's an actor. An actor can be a stuntman. Is like, because I mean, unless you're Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Well, I want to be an actor that can do his own stunts. Yeah. Because if you get labeled as a stuntman, you're kind of that's.
And you gotta look like the person, and then
Yeah. Well, also just like once you're seen as a stunt person, it's kind of hard to get out of that. Yes, you get thrown lines if you're like the stunt double for, like on Black Panther, the stunt double for the main actress. She got lines because, well, she's there.
Yeah.
Every single day. But in terms of getting a lead in your own film or co-starring or whatever,
it's hard to transition to that.
Yeah, because they see you as a stunt person.
Yeah, because the thing that I've heard of, like when it comes to like actors, like, oh, I do all my own stunts. It's like there's that ego kind of thing about it, but then it's also, I feel like as an actor, like, hey, I can save you money on having to hire someone.
Yeah.
Doing other takes, like finding someone that looks like the same build as me. Like,
what's just gonna be hard, like for me, but like throw a wig on. I'm like, I have some buddies that who look similar to me, but it's mainly if you're doing stunts, like when they're filming their stunt double, they're like, just don't look at the camera, as long as we see that your side profile or just your hair, the back of your head.
Like if you're running sideways, it's like we can
like, so they play with the angle, so then like they can have a stunt person be in there because they're the same height, same hair color, same build, and then they're like, all right, cool, just we can't see your face.
Yeah. Well, I've seen the parodies where it's like the skinny, like pretty, like leading lady, she like, oh, it's time to blow this joint. And then she pulls off on like a motorcycle doing a wheelie, but then it's like a big dude in a dress like doing the wheelie. It's like, wait a second,
Wait.
hold on, I can see that.
That's not you.
That was not Scarlett Johansson on that motorcycle doing a wheelie. That you almost got me, but yeah.
Did you see the for the Deadpool Wolverine movie, the dance that Deadpool did? That wasn't
the NSYNC dance.
That wasn't him.
Yeah, it was was it a YouTube?
Is it? Yeah, I came across my TikTok feed, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm the guy doing the dance." And I'm like, "Yo, that's so cool," because he matched
did it on his page, and it became like a thing, and people were like, and then they're like, "Hey, man, you just want to come and do it in the suit?" Which, I mean, just getting to wear the suit would be fun.
Yeah, just like, because being the same build, same height, just making him look just like Deadpool, like that's incredible in itself that he was a body match for Ryan Reynolds.
Like, we can use this. Like, this is cool.
Yeah.
And he's like, I get to say that I was Deadpool. Like, I was in there. Oh, my God, dude. Yeah, there's so many things, like, when it comes to, like, there's so many moving parts in, like, a film that I've been learning from, like, my friend Scott. And like all that he's told me when he did his films, and then like just even like kind of thinking about like preparing like to talk with you about it. I mean, there's so many moving parts in there. And and we've argued about the Marvel MCU universe plenty of times, me and Seabass. But one of the most impressive things like I've seen about it, like when Robert Downey Jr. made the reveal that he's going to be.
That was a cool reveal. That was
How
awesome.
do you feel about it? Do you think that's a good move? Like, I feel like I'm like, I don't know, man. There's somebody out there that could probably do a really good Doctor Doom, but it's like Tony Stark was Iron Man, like the same way Ryan Reynolds was Deadpool. I'm like, how is he gonna like? I trust Robert Downey Jr. to be.
Well, great. Deadpool kind of had to get rid of his Green Lantern. Thing. So
they made fun of it too in his movie.
Oh yeah,
it's like, but like,
in the other Deadpool movies where he shot himself, seeing the Green Lantern things, like nope.
Shot the.
You're welcome, Canada, and just walks.
Yeah, you're welcome, Canada. He killed his version of Deadpool that was in the origin or
I forgot the X-Men or something. Or
it was X-Men Origins where it was the
Wolverine Origins.
Wolverine, yeah.
It was a Wolverine movie.
Yeah, because that part and like because I remember when he was in there, and then at the very end he just has like the two swords come out of his. I'm like, and then so when Deadpool came back in and killed that, and then just. You're welcome, Canada. Oh my God, that was so good.
I'm like, that better have been improv.
Yeah,
probably was improv.
It's like, well, but like, do you think it's gonna be like? How do you feel? Like, are you like a MCU guy or more DC or like where you fall on that?
I don't really feel strong about either or.
Yeah.
I'm more about like the quality of the acting and like because I'm more focused on the actors and like their job. I feel like there's good movies on both sides. Some of them, as the sequels went on, the kind of died.
Yeah, I mean that's fair.
Which is like I'm like, was that necessary? Like, but in terms of Robert Downey, he's a great actor.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Doctor Doom at all because I don't really watch comics or anything or know much about comics. So when people are like, "Oh man, he's gonna be Doctor Doom," and like freaking out about it, I was like, "I know Robert Downey, don't know Doctor Doom."
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a surprise. It's gonna be if he plays Doctor Doom or when he plays Doctor Doom and I watch it, I'll be seeing Doctor Doom as Robert Downey for the first time.
Yeah.
Because I'll still see him as Iron Man, but what will he bring different than he brought as Iron Man? Because you can't have the same acting style, or you can't have the same what's that word?
Like you just don't want it to feel like it's
because some of the stuff Iron Man does, the little things he does that aren't like readily visible, that you're like, oh yeah, that's an Iron Man thing, or his cockiness or whatever that he brought to Iron Man. If he tries to bring that to Doctor Doom, it's not gonna translate.
We don't want to see Tony Stark being Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
We want to see and that's why I think like he's such a good actor. He's gonna find a way to. And on top of that, Doctor Doom, for the most part, I think he keeps his mask on, like it's like glued to his, or like it's like melted to his face. It's kind
of like the mask, like Jim Carrey in The Mask.
Yeah. So I mean that part of it too. I'm like, it's going to be pretty like I think it's going to be easier for him in that sense to kind of like make it to where he's not acting through the mask. And I remember that was the thing about with the second or third Iron Man movie where he's like out of the suit a lot more, and he's like, I want to kind of give people a way to meet Tony Stark, the character, while he's freaking out about like the aliens and like everything that which made him more human. So when he comes back in for the Avengers movies and stuff, we already love Tony Stark.
Yeah.
And then he's like the perfect Iron Man. And so I think he's going to do great as Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
It is just, I was just like, when I first saw it, I was like, I don't know, man. And then like, how are you going to tie it together? But anything goes in the multiverse.
Right.
Like that's just the universe where he was from the Vaught family and like the Von Dooms. Like it's like
yeah, okay. Like how are they going to tie that in? Because everybody's going to be like, yeah, that's Iron Man. Like how are they going to tie that backstory and whatever? But if he can avoid bringing Tony Stark, any Tony Stark like little things,
like those little quirks,
yeah, the charisma of the quirks. Because if he slips into those like charisma of quirks into as Doctor Doom, even if he has got the mask on, I'm like Tony Stark.
Well, it's like, were you a fan of The Mandalorian? Did you watch that?
I watched some of it, yes.
Yeah, like I was impressed. Like even though like the whole thing is Pedro Pascal, the guy that played him and stuff. I think Pedro Pascal, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. He's like my Jamie. I was like, look that up. Look that up. See that?
Yeah, no, that's correct. It's him.
Google.
Okay, Google. Quick. Think of my thoughts before I'm thinking of them. But like, in the like things is like, even though like there was moments like when he would someone would say something and you just see that subtle way he would turn and look at somebody. It's like even though you can't see his face, you're just like I could feel it, like the body acting that he's doing, and just like that part was impressive. And so I think that's what he's going to Robert Downey Jr. is going to be able to do through like that, and I think it's going to give him a lot more freedom. And he has to be a bad guy. Yeah, like seeing him go from superhero to villain, like I think that's going to be it's just going to be great. But I mean, dude, it's oh god, it'd be so fun.
I watched some of him as Sherlock.
Oh yeah, when he did Sherlock movies.
Yeah, and just watching him do that, I was like, there's no Tony Stark in this. So that was pretty impressive. That was impressive, like especially that fight scene that he was
discombobulated.
Yep.
Discombobulated.
Throw the handkerchief.
Discombobulated. Yep. Just oh my god, yeah, dude, I forgot he was in Sherlock. That like because my sisters like they were really into the Benedict Cumberbatch like when he did that like the modern day like one, which was also really good. But like when you brought that up, I was like, oh my god, I forgot that was really well done. Yeah, like
this his acting in that, like I was like, damn, that's nice. Like compared to because seeing him as Tony Stark and then seeing him as Sherlock, I'm like, okay, there's no like mesh. Yeah, there's no overlap where you're like, I see Tony Stark. Like I didn't see any of that.
Well, it's like Ryan Reynolds in The Proposal. It's like, what if Deadpool's a normal guy and he just happened to work for Sandra Bullock as his like her assistant? And
oh, I watched the bloopers for that. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Dude, I would love to if I was like ever like hopefully the music works out really well. Then I'm a very successful musician that's like famous and all the great things happen. Like, hey, Jared, you kind of remind me of. I've had people say you kind of remind me of Jack Black, Jared. I'm like,
I was literally gonna say that when we first sat down, I was like, "You've got that Jack Black energy."
I take that with a mark of pride.
Because he's so awesome, so welcoming, like such great energy, just so charismatic. Yeah. And just like he's got that just happy, like let's just send it. Just like
all gas, no brakes.
Yep.
And then like
funny thing is, I just watching from Tenacious D. It came across my TikTok feed.
Cause it's the band. Yeah. Oh god, dude, that movie is top 10.
I was watching that. He's a shiny golden god. That when he's playing, I mean he's singing.
Well, and then it's like it's crazy because like I think it'll all blow over because there was that whole thing and like after like the Trump assassination attempt, like somebody said something on stage at one of their concerts, and like the concert was like, okay, we're just gonna take a short little break, and then like they're like, all right, we're just gonna kind of have people move away because I think it was this other guy, Kyle Gass, said something about like next time don't miss or something. Like they said some offhand comment on the fly, just happened. I still love you guys. I think it's like it's gonna be okay. You can be better. It's like we'll all still love you if you just do your thing and be the great human beings that you are. But it's just
I'm like, that's why you don't get involved in politics. I'm just like, I'm no politician. Like, people are like, hey, who you voting for and all that stuff, and I'm like, look, I'm doing me.
I'm just trying to survive.
Yeah, I'm like, are they finding out who I'm voting for and like what party I'm going with? Will that pay my bills? Is that gonna pay my bills?
Yeah.
Are y'all paying my bills now? Like, let me do me. Like,
once I'm financially secure, which will be probably never with the way the economy's going, like then we can talk about like my personal views. Because until then, it's like I'm just trying to be a good guy, do the right thing in the moment. But yeah, I mean, dude, and then like some people like have this like weird like thing where it's just have you seen The Boys by chance? On Amazon. It's another. I'm a very big into superheroes. I love my superhero movies and like TV shows and stuff. But like, it was kind of crazy how a lot of people had, like, because the storyline goes like, it's like crazy. The like spoilers for anyone that's a fan of the Boys. Right before the Donald Trump assassination thing happened, they were talking about on the TV like it's like, we have to assassinate the president, and then that happened. They're like,
oh no,
hey, this is a part of this comic book. This is how things go. Like we're not saying like.
It's like The Simpsons who like predict everything.
But like The Simpsons, it's like, oh, that you have to go back like 10 years to find that prediction. They're like, I know this happened last week, and like we can't reshoot this episode that we're about to release. So just everyone calm down. Everything's fine. Like it's just a part of the comic book. But like some people like watching it, like I saw like commentaries and people were like doing episode breakdowns because I just have YouTube scrolling and it just ends up going into something like, oh, they're talking about the thing. I'm like, oh god, they're really pulling a lot out of this. That's like that's not what they were going for. Like because it gets really political and it's just like I feel like it.
I feel like people can take so much of what you say and just twist it,
clip it, and cut it into short pieces. It's like, did you watch the whole hour-long episode?
It's like that reminds me of like that Tony Stark when he was on trial and his buddy what is his name was testifying and reading the page or whatever from he made as an essay and he's like, oh yeah, just take these clips and just say these clips to make Tony look bad. And he's like, well, this isn't. I just said this sentence, but it's a bigger part of a whole paragraph. Like the paragraph, you can't just take stuff from a little bit and like ignore.
Upon it. It's like,
yeah, and so like you've gotta. That's how people like twist so much of stuff what you say, of the stuff you say, because they are just like, oh, that makes them look bad. Let's just take that one sentence or that one comment
and run with it.
Yeah. And then if you actually listen to the whole sentence or whole paragraph or whatever he was trying to say, whole comment, then they're like, oh, like, okay, that ties into, and it doesn't look bad. He was just explaining himself or he was just saying something. And I'm like, there's no, why are you trying to make people look bad for views?
Yeah.
You know?
It's like if someone had a monologue where they're talking about how like they got bit by a dog and they're like, yeah, I never liked that dog. And it's like, so-and-so doesn't like dogs. And it's like, he hates dogs. And it's like, well, it's because all these things that the dog did to him. Yeah. But if you listen to the other half of his monologue, he talks about how they become friends. Right. Like, but you take that one snippet about how somebody doesn't like dogs.
Or he's like, yeah, like if he did that again, I killed the dog. Oh, he's a dog killer.
He's a dog killer.
I'm like,
everyone hate him.
Right? And I'm like, no, he was attacked. You know, his dog was killed. Of course, he's gonna be mad. Like he's like, if this dog comes back, I'm gonna kill him or whatever. And then like the next day, to see the dog injured in a ditch, and he's like, oh, that's what you get. But I feel bad, so I'm gonna take care of you, and they become friends.
Yeah.
But no, all they heard was, I want to kill this dog, and they're like, haha, boom, get him.
Got him. Cut it, clip it. He's cooked.
Now then he puts out an apology, and they're like,
dude, yeah. I mean, that's the crazy part too. It's like I joke around. It's like, do you want? Oh, so you want to be a rock star? I was like, of course. Like, who wouldn't? But then like, I'd rather just be a rich musician, like get rich from playing music.
Yeah.
Fame, if it happens, that's cool. But there's a lot of things that go along with being like a recognizable person.
Yeah.
Like
that's why like Keanu Reeves is my hero. That's who I want to be like.
And he's a bass player.
Like when I become famous.
There you go.
I want to be like Keanu Reeves, who like I can just go have coffee and talk to normal people, and I'm not an asshole.
Yeah.
Like that's why I talk to the background and didn't tell him I was cast, because I'm like, just because I'm cast today doesn't make me better than you. I was you 5 days ago. I'm gonna be you in the next 3 days because I got a set lined up as background. So like, why am I getting on my high horse? Like, there's no point. Like, and that's why a lot of actors, a lot of people are like, yeah, these actors are divas because the way you're treated. Where like they'll literally carry your shoes in your bag for you. They'll like take pictures of the crafty table so you don't have to walk 10 steps to go look at it.
Like, here's what we have. It's like, I can see it over there.
Yeah, they're like, no, you can stay in the tent with the AC. Like, here, just go through my phone, like, click whatever you want, and we'll bring it to you. I'm like, I can just, it's right there.
Yeah, and I can see how that gets to some people's heads. And I'm sure, like, if, like, there was, like, especially, like, I think it was something Tom Cruise, like, got in trouble, like, for. But he, like, started yelling at people on set because they weren't wearing a mask. And it was later on, it was, like, 2021, I think. But it was just, like, I'm sure he was trying to do the right thing on stuff, but I mean, like, there's cameras everywhere today. Like,
yeah.
I mean, one person that's an extra, like, just sitting in a tent, and you start going off on somebody, and they just hold up the camera.
Yeah.
And, like,
on set, that doesn't happen, but, like, yeah, if you're offset or whatever, you're just walking by.
Yeah.
And, like, something goes on, like, yeah, people are going to video. But that's why I want to be, like, grounded and, like, who I am. And, like, just genuine.
Yeah.
Instead of putting on this, hey, I'm an A-list actor, like, bow. Like, no, like,
it's like you're just a human.
Yeah, like we both remember where we came from. We came from, like, I came from nothing. I came from background work. Yeah. So I worked my way up. Yes, I'm here now, but that could be easily,
It could change.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, there's no downside to being nice.
Yeah, there isn't.
Yeah.
And, like, that's why, like, I'm like, Keanu, he fucking paid for, like, you heard about the plane flight being canceled, and he was like, you know what, I'll just rent these vans, and we'll go, and I'll have them drive you to wherever you need to go, and I'll play trivia with you guys, and I'm like, that's so cool.
I mean, and just be like, be that guy that's like, I can do this, life's been good to me, I can do something nice.
He could have just gotten a private jet and just disappeared.
Yeah.
Which, like, I feel like a lot of people would have done.
Especially if they're like, oh, the private jet for me is like getting a lunch, like,
right?
It's like that.
And just leave these, like, 350 people just stranded. I'm like, I have the money. It's not gonna put a dent in my wallet.
Yeah, it's like what's a couple, like, I don't know how much it was, but it's like, if you have $100 million, or you have a couple $1 million, are you gonna notice that $500-600 missing?
Right. I'm like, if I have a house, I have a car, all my bills are paid, I got stuff in savings. Now I've just got, like, what am I going to do with this extra $500,000-600,000, $1 million or more money, like, dollars? I'm like, I could help make someone's life a little better.
Yeah.
And, like, when we get in that situation, being humble, remembering where we came from, and, like, just being nice goes such a long way.
Yeah. And I feel like there is, like, the ripple effect too. It's like,
yeah.
Or the
And also, like, your fans. If you don't have fans, and they all think you're an asshole, and you don't have fans, guess what? You don't sell anything.
No one's showing up to that concert. It's like, no one's going to see that movie if they think you're a bad person.
Right.
But I mean, like, yeah, I agree with you 100% on that front. Like, there's so many more upsides to being just taking that extra breath. I can do a nice thing here and doing it. But I mean, kind of moving forward in your career, like, what's like, so you got the sword training down, you got the horseback riding, like,
I got archery.
Like, are there any other skills that you think are, like, or, like, have you kind of heard that are, like, stuff to add to your repertoire?
I like to get better at, like, stunts and falls and stuff. But getting into that, that's difficult because the stunt group kind of stick together. They're like, are you in?
If you're not a stuntman, or are you an actor?
Yeah, they're like, because they're like, they might take it wrong. If you're like, hey, I'm just here to learn stuff and then dip.
Yeah.
And they're like, because they're like, we want to be able to represent you, or like, they're like, hey, this dude's good, like, hire him as a stunt person. But if you're gonna take their time and they'll teach you how to do all this stuff, and then you're just like, now I'm gonna go steal one of your guys' roles because now I don't need a stuntman.
Yeah. It's a tricky situation. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. It's like,
but, like, I actually do have stunt credit from Black Panther because after they cut that scene, they kept us as stunts. So I have stunt credit, and, like, because stunts got nominated for a SAG award, I got sent the SAG award, even though it's like they're like, what did you do on stunts? And I'm like, I ran around on set.
I ran.
But since they CGI'd me in, like you can see me in the film,
Yeah.
which like that was what one of the strike was about was like I was only on set 3 or 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
That film was filming for months,
Mm-hmm.
and so even though I wasn't on set, they own my body likeness,
Oh yeah.
and so they can just put me throughout any film they want.
They can make an army of you.
Yeah.
And, like it's just like we made this army of clones from this one guy that we had on cast for a couple days, and it's like whoa, hey. It's like,
But you don't get paid, so I'm like that's what the strike was about.
it's a tricky situation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like because I mean, on the flip side of it, like if you do like when you do become the famous actor that you're gonna become.
Thank you.
Like, and someone's like, hey man, I want you in this movie, but it's like, you know, it's like a spirit realm thing. So you're like in like all this weird stuff. It's like, what if we just like take, you know, do a 3D scan of your body, and so that way we could just put your body in there. And it's like, well, what like do you like that's me? So it's like you're not gonna put my voice on someone else's album and then sell it and pretend like it's you singing. Like, I mean, people have done that, but they buy them. They're like, hey man, we're gonna pay you a lot of money, so you like can't say that it's like it's yours. Like the JoJo Siwa, like she did that Karma song.
Okay.
And it's such a ripoff. And it's like I'm sure her company and her people bought it. Like, but there's another song that was originally released by a different artist, and like people are like, dude, that's her song. And you're like, she's like, no, I wrote it. It's like, ma'am, if you look at the evidence here, that is obviously not your song. Just say that you bought it. Like that's a normal industry thing. People buy songs. People like write a song. Like I've been doing that now, where I'm trying to like write songs for movies, backgrounds, video games, YouTube like channels, whatever. It's like just they're like, I want a song that sounds like this. I write some up, send it to them, and they're like, all right, change this. This is, and it's like it's a whole process. And I'm like, dude, that's your song. Once you buy it out for me, it's yours.
Yeah.
Like I got my credit, I got my money. I'm cool.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's the thing with like the 3D scanning is because you don't get paid. So if they come out with another movie, and they put your likeness in another movie,
just put your likeness in there, turn him green, put some hair on him.
Yeah.
It's like,
and I'm like, so you don't get paid for any of that.
Yeah.
And that's what's frustrating. And that's why like that whole strike, and like since the strike happened, it's been really dead.
Yeah.
Like acting wise, that's why there's been no pilot season this year. Like there was, so the only films filming right now are the films that were filming before the strike. So all the films that were going to start filming, nope. That's why like the a lot of shows and stuff got cut off, got like nixed off all these streaming platforms, and so that was a lot of jobs, a lot of a lot of roles, a lot of jobs for a lot of people, and so trying to make it happen, trying to stay busy in the acting industry right now is really tough because I've been looking at like background sets, and like just the pay isn't good. I'm like, it's not worth losing out on money just to go to a set, and like the base pays 100 for the day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I make more than that in like 6-7 hours.
Yeah. There's other things I can do with my time just to feed myself. And, like, build up.
I'm like, yeah, it's a great set. Like I get to hang out with my buddies that I haven't seen in a while, which I wouldn't normally see because they're all on set. And I'm like, must be nice, you know? Well, at least you get fed and whatever on set. But I'm like, I've got bills to pay. Like, especially in this economy, if you're like living on your own.
Yeah.
Unless like you have to have roommates, which is really tough.
Yeah. It's like, all right, everyone's sharing a room. There's only 3 rooms. There's 8 people in here. Like, technically, don't sleep on Ted's couch because that's his bed. It's like I've heard of crazy situations like with like all
like,
different types.
Yeah, like my apartment. There's like 8 or 9 people living in one bedroom.
Oh god.
Yeah, and so I'm like, how did they make that work? Yeah, the rent's cheap now. You split it between 9 people because all the people are working.
Yeah.
But
just living in that, it's like just like you got like a corner.
Yeah.
It's like that's my corner.
This is your corner, and we have to fold it up and roll it up when in the morning, so then everybody has room to walk around and whatever. And I'm like, how does that work? Because with 2 people, with me and my fiance, it's not crazy cramped, but for the amount of money we're paying for that amount of space.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's why we're planning on moving more towards the Johns Creek area. But yeah, trying to find out if there's a pilot season, because I looked at the statistics. My agent posted statistics of how much pilot season has dropped over the years.
Now, when you say pilot season, is it like that means there's like a season to shoot pilots, or is it like a show called Pilot?
Oh no, it's the season to shoot pilots.
Okay, cool.
So,
I was like, did I miss this?
No,
I just wanted to make sure.
No, it's all good. No, so yeah, that's where most like actors like me who are trying to make it, who are trying to get their breakthrough or trying to get cast as a regular on a show or a regular on a movie, or this is where that's the crunch time for us, and that's our chance to like have a steady job for the next 5-6 months.
Yeah.
Or more, and especially if it's episodes that just keep going, you're good. Like one of my buddies, when I was on Legacies, he bought his mom a house.
Nice.
And Legacies had, I forgot how many seasons, but like he was core on as a vampire for the whole season, for all the seasons. And I was like, and that was from the pilot. So pilot season are basically shows that want to get picked up by networks.
And is it because like the season is like is it like fall the season, or like what is like the season in the industry for pilot shooting? Is it like right now is like the season?
No, it's more like in the spring.
Okay.
So like more like January to April or something like that. So somewhere around there. Like even like maybe even starting closer to December, people starting to prep. But it's all these shows that are trying to get picked up. Because they could be, because you'll see on Actor Access like, hey, you know, for the pilot or a potential pilot, or you talk to the director, or like one of my friends, we were filming, and he was like, I wanted this kid to picked up by a network. So it was basically a pilot, and so that's a chance to get seen, because I've heard that a lot of directors and studios are trying to go with new unknown actors instead of just the regulars.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool. Like I was excited for this pilot season, and then there was nothing. And I was like, oh. So I had to pick up a regular job. So I've been working at Medieval Times.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now we're hoping that next year pilot season will pick back up again. I just had an audition for a pilot, so it's like it's late in the season, but better late than never, I guess. Yeah. So
because I was wondering like what the season of it is. It kind of because like in the music industry, you'll notice like there's like a lot of songs will come out. Like everyone wants to have the song of the summer.
Yeah.
Like so, and then on top of that, then like when the Grammys come out, like there'll be people that will release songs like at a certain like 3-month period right before that, just so it could be the top pop like song of the like, and everyone's like, oh my god, and like push other people off of the chart. So it's like
yeah,
like it's
they have to. It's like a bunch of timing just like that. Like they're like, hey, if we can get this filming at this time, get it like the post production done and all that, we can have it in time for this.
Yeah.
And so like, depending on how big the film is, what the budget is, etc. Sometimes I guess since I just had an audition for a potential pilot, they plan to have it out for like the next showing or something like that.
Yeah.
Or the next big thing, so that they can get views, or they can get seen. But yeah, in terms of music, so you also know what it's like to try and like record and get it out. And
oh, dude, the auditions. I've been doing some auditions just like to pick up extra work, honestly.
Yeah.
Which is a huge part of like, you know, just especially musicians. Like we relate to the roommates, the struggles and stuff like that. Like, you know, the whole idea of your band, you all like rent out a place, you just sleep wherever you can. Like, yeah, everyone get girlfriends that can pay rent. Like my dad jokes like, you should get a wife with 2 jobs, that way she can afford you. And I'm like, thanks, Dad, thanks. I get ha ha ha. It's just, but like it is one of those things where it's like, to make money as a musician, either you do like those gigs, like you can gig if you can get a gig every night, or 5 nights a week, or 4 nights a week at like $100 to $200 a show, It's like, and then like, and that's after after you split with the band or whatnot. It's like if you can make $150 a day, you can play 5, 6 shows, and that's okay. It's not a bad week. But then it's like you're playing so often, like people don't want to come see you because they know they can see you whenever.
Yeah.
And so you try to then take a break, make like, hey, we're playing this big show at the end of the, like this month, or like we play once a month, and try to build up an audience from all those mini shows, or like having so many shows, not mini shows, but having so many shows that then people like you. Then you kind of disappear, and people are like, where'd you go? I'm like, been working on something, bro. Gotta come see me at the end of the month, or else or like
I'm dropping a new song or something like that, or like there's something I can't tell you what it is, but you have to come and see it. Yeah.
I mean, like it's crazy because then like I can also do drums and bass, and like I'd be happy to play guitar in other groups and stuff, but then you gotta put the time in to make sure you got everything learned. You gotta make sure everything's like good, and then if it's not your style, it's a little bit draining. It's like if I was gonna play bass in a country band, have nothing against country. I just country music can be great. But if I'm playing country music, if I had to be in a country band for money, like you got to be doing really well, and I hope your dream comes true. But man, like if you want me to play some poppy country song, or like worse, if you want me to be in like a Georgia Florida line band, where it's just
how do you feel about country rock?
I'm not against it,
okay.
But like who comes to mind for you when you think country rock? Like I think of like one of the best if I can be in a band with a guy that sounds like Chris Stapleton, all day.
Okay.
Love it. He rocks. He's country, and he sings like oh my god. But I mean, like it's hard because like when it comes to music, like you get paid. Like I saw like this guy making a big fuss about how this one venue only paid him like X amount of money, and I was like, bro, you're only making that? And then I looked at his page, and I was like, older dude. Nothing against older dudes.
Okay.
Older dudes can still rock out hard. But then I'm like, what have you, like, you've been playing since the 80s? Like, there's only 2 ways to get more money as a musician. Either sell a bunch of stuff, merch, CDs, streams, or anything, or get more people to show up. Because if you can get 130 people to show up anywhere in the country, like a bar, venue, they would love to have you show up and bring 130 people into their club.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, yeah, dude, we'll pay you $1,200. Like we're gonna make like 4 times that with 130 people showing up and spending money here. So it's like, that's all. Those are your only options.
Yeah.
Like as an actor, it looks like I'm guessing. So correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
It's like you just continue to build up your portfolio, show great work, show like diversity, and it's like the roles you play, and then like just having like those skills like sword fighting and like stuff like that.
Yeah, you have to be able to be versatile.
Yeah.
Or you find a niche like The Rock. He just plays basically the rock and all his moves, and people, because he's from WWE, because he already has a following for WWE and stuff, then it's easier for him to transfer and bring those views to his movies. But so he doesn't really. I might get hate, but
hey,
he doesn't. He doesn't have range.
Yeah.
So he basically you see The Rock in a movie, he's gonna kick ass, knock people out, save the girl. It's kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like so all those big buff dudes, like you can't play a nerdy computer geek. Like you're like
it's like, hello hey boss man. Like
it's like The Incredibles in this little cubicle.
Oh my God. I was about to say it's like yeah, Mr. Incredible working in a cubicle he barely fits, and that was part of the funny part of it. But in like if you're trying to sell that's who you really are, it's like if you're a little wimpy dude, why do you bench press 400 pounds? It's like just because I want to. Like nah.
I mean, what did you think of Central Intelligence? Because he was supposedly a nerdy, overweight kid, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's now The Rock and 6'3", 6'4".
I think it was kind of trying to play on that. It's like maybe you can't. Like, what if we make him like the flip happened, and then it was just like back to normal.
Yeah, but then there's times that he tried to play nerdy shy.
Yeah.
When Kevin Hart's just ripping on him, he's like, The Rock, whatever. Who are these people? These are just stupid nicknames by dumbass people. And like he was trying to play, like in that scene, he was trying to play like shy and like nerdy. Yeah. I could see him because he like kind of rolled his shoulders in, and I'm like, that's I'm not buying it.
Yeah, it's like how about we stick him in a room full of like, you know, Icelandic Viking giants where he is the little shy tiny dude. Like let us go spend a month with those people, and then he can be like, oh yeah, like he's like I'm assuming he's never gotten bullied, but it's like I mean you know like I've seen.
His contract. Have you heard about his contracts in the
No,
movies?
tell me.
He cannot lose a fight on screen.
What? You gotta. What about the hero arc where you get you get beat and then you make the comeback to just you overcome your. Okay, is that? I'm guessing that's not it. Is that like one of the biggest things in his contract?
Mm-hmm. He can't like. I feel like the only time he can like lose is if he decides to save a girl or be a hero and like save something from falling on someone.
Yeah.
But in terms of a stand-up one-on-one fight, mm-mm.
That's yeah. It's like dude, like in wrestling, he lost matches and like what do you mean? You like
probably why.
yeah, maybe
He's probably like, I got tired of being told I'm just gonna lose this fight in wrestling, so he's like, I just never want to lose again.
Like I mean, David Batista, I like him a little. Like when I say I like him, like not more than the Rock.
Dave. Oh, I have a story. He's
Yeah.
awesome. Like I was on Stuber with him.
Okay.
We were filming at the Brave Stadium. And it was one of my. It was like the second or third set I was ever on.
Yeah.
And we just walking up and down the street, and Dave was playing the police officer. He got like hurt in his eyes. His eye was like squinted shut, and he's running after his partner because he just heard his partner got shot. So we were like the crowd out running away from the gunshots, and they ran out of stunt people. And I'm the skinny kid, and they're like, "Hey, you can run at Dave, and he's gonna like push you out of the way, but don't fall because that's a stunt, and you're not a stunt person."
Okay, you want me to run in a brick house and not fall over? Okay.
So he's coming through this crowd hard, like flinging these 250, 300-pound stunt dudes, like just knocking them.
Oh, yeah.
So then I'm running at him. I just see this freight train. I've never been more scared in my life. Like everything in me, I was like, do I want to piss shit or cry?
It's like,
but I'm like, the director told me to run at him, so I'm running at him, and I was like so scared. And they called action. I was like, no. And he comes to run at me. He like the last person he knocks down. He kind of goes down to one knee, and he's like, gets up and starts sprinting. And I'm like running at him. I'm like, I just want to like jump out of the way. But then he puts his hand on my shoulder. He pushes me, and I go flying.
he's like,
And I went flying. Thankfully, I didn't fall. I just stumbled and like landed on this like concrete planter thing.
yeah.
And he came over after that called cut. Like, hey man, you okay? And like, cause he had that mean mug face, but he's the nicest dude.
Yeah.
He's like, man, are you good? He's like, you stunts? I'm like, no, the director just told me to run at you. And he's like, okay, well, you know, I'm gonna be coming through hard. I'll try not to shove you as hard, but I gotta make it look realistic or whatever. But then he decided to take some pictures with us.
Nice.
And he's like, hey guys, smile, because he can walk it up and go, oh man, we're in trouble. But it's like, hey, how's it going? You know,
not gonna eat anybody.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna eat anybody. It's cool. We're cool.
And so then he took some pictures with us. The director, the PAs walk up and like, hey, Mr. Batista, this is a closed set. You can't be taking pictures. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. We go back to holding and we get chewed out for 15 minutes. They're like, don't talk to the actors, don't look at them, blah, 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 blah. Go back on set. Dave like kind of like sneaks over to us and he's like, hey, I'm so sorry you guys got in trouble. Like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, man, it's all fine. He's like, I feel bad. I'm so sorry. But he was so nice. Like, the nicest dude.
Dude, like that's like you said, it's like those kind of people are the ones that you want to be like when you
Yeah.
get to their level. Like when I hear stories about like actors that are just like one that was really weird, and this is speculation, so this is just like I heard on Reddit, I saw on a Reddit thing, like this one YouTuber like said something, but it was like the actress that played Flo on the Geico commercials, or the Progressive, I mean, they were like, yeah, she had like an assistant to talk to people. Like she goes up to like one of the food trucks, and the guy's like, hey, what can I get for her? And she's just
kind of like Rhino, like, who is it? Rob Downey. I don't like being handed stuff.
oh my god. Yeah, it's like I don't like being handed things and it's like that. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Like you hear these rumors and stuff, and like I said, it's all rumors, but it's like she had a person to talk to, like the not like important people for her, and it's like I said, I hope that's not true because I mean I think she's probably a wonderful person, but it's like to be that disconnected from real people, it's like that's like dude, you're missing out on a lot of life. Like there's a lot of great people out here that aren't in that realm. But I mean, you know.
That's why you gotta just remember where you came from. You know, even if, and like, it's hard to remember that if you grew up on top, you know?
Yeah.
But no, there's some people that they were my hero. He was my hero. But then I met him and I worked with him. Yeah. But I can say that, like, Emily Blunt was awesome. The British comedian dude, I keep forgetting his name. Jack Whitehall was awesome. So we were on set and it was going on 12 hours of filming. And Jack's like, who knows how to do the floss dance? So I raised my hand. 2 other people raised their hands. He's like, quick, line up. Hey, Rock, Emily, watch this. And we did the floss dance. The next day, Emily comes walking up. And she's like, hi, guys. So what's the dance you guys are doing? I don't know how to dance. Can you guys teach me? And we're like, yeah. Yes. So she's like, hey, production, give me 5 minutes. And we taught her how to do the floss dance. So if she ever does that, if she ever did that on live TV.
That was me.
That was us. Yeah.
That's awesome. Man.
But, like, they were awesome. Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, Emma Stone, all of them were, like, everybody on the Zombieland cast was awesome. Cobra Kai cast is awesome. Black Panther cast was awesome.
Yeah.
Who else? Well, of course, Clint Eastwood once I realized who he was.
Yeah, once
awesome.
You're like, awesome, that guy's cool.
Yeah. Jack Black, though, like, he and I had a moment. Because they were filming this scene where Nick Jonas is walking into the castle, trying to sneak into the castle, whatever. And we were just cutting, and we were just chilling, and I just heard music. And there's Jack Black playing music on his phone, and he's, like, scanning the crowd to see if anybody's paying attention. He and I lock eyes. And he's like, and we start head banging. And he just like, and I'm like, all right, cool. So we had a little moment. I didn't actually get to go up and, like, carry on a conversation with him. But like, yeah, we connected, and he just like,
it's like, you doing this with me?
Yep. Yeah. So awesome. Like, just his energy was just, like, infectious.
Yeah. So like moving forward for you, like, what's kind of like for anyone that's like you're right now in your career, you're getting all the things that, like, the groundwork. Like,
I'm SAG eligible, so I could join SAG. And
for those that don't know, SAG is stage.
It's the Actors Guild.
Actors Guild.
Yep. So
Screen Actors.
The Screen Actors Guild. So once you join the Screen Actors Guild, you've made it. You still have, you're in the industry. You still have to get your roles, but once you are part of the Screen Actors Guild, there is a list of how you're supposed to be treated.
Nice.
So the way that, like, on Black Panther, how I was treated, on Panhandle, I was co-star. I played Native American on that, and I had my first official line in TV, which was a pretty badass line. At least it was, don't know him, now can I punch this asshole in the face? And that's like, okay, I'll take that line over, like, a wimpy one.
Yeah.
Please don't shoot me, no. But no, so, like, that was awesome, and that's how, because I was SAG eligible, they were able to get me that, the agent was able to get me that role, because, like, it's not much of a bump to, like, get tapped you for the day. But once you join the Screen Actors Guild, for, I think, nationwide, I think it's like $3K, 1,500, I think, for just the South. If I'm wrong, that's my bad. No. But it's something around those numbers. But then you still have your dues to pay every year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I'm not making the money to support that, then why should I join SAG if I don't have, because I don't have 1,500 to drop right now. I don't have 3,000 to drop.
Yeah.
And then I don't have the yearly dues, like, because I'm not making anything right now. So, but your question was like, what's
the next, like, so that, like, for you and, like, people that are listening to you, like, and maybe interested in getting, it's like, once you get to the, like, the kind of the phase where you're at, what's the next bump in your, like in your career? Like, what do you think is, like, the next thing ahead for you?
Next thing would be to land a reoccurring role. To land a lead role in a film or a reoccurring role on a TV show.
Gotcha.
That, because, yeah, I've done commercials, I've done indie films, I've done one-liners, I've done a co-star role. I've gotten bumped up from background, which, you know, that's not normal.
Yeah.
That's really rare. I never expected it to go down like that, but I'm so lucky. But yeah, that's the next step, would be to get that role, because once I get the recurring role, then my name and my face will be out there way more.
And people will be like, I like the way,
Yeah,
I like this look he's got.
yeah.
I like this. We could use it for this thing.
Because like it's about visibility. If especially in the acting industry, especially in the music industry, if they don't see your face, they don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Like they are like, oh, we saw him a couple times, and once you disappear, when they don't see you for a while, people start forgetting.
Yeah.
So you gotta keep like putting yourself in the spotlight. You gotta keep like showing your face. You gotta keep trying to stay relevant and in the forefront of people's minds. That's the hard part about acting, especially with the strike, because it's so dead right now. I'm like, yes, there's the extras casting that know who I am. Yes, my agent still is working to find me auditions, but because it's so dead, like the best thing for me next would to get a recurring role, because then there's the if it does so well, there's Comic-Con, there's Dragon Con, there's all those things that you get brought out for.
Dragon Con, by the way.
Nice. I've never been.
It's awesome. But yeah, but like that's kind of
yeah.
the thing you're saying.
So yeah,
like
that's when you get fans. That's when you get following. That's when you get people offering you roles. Because that's the breakthrough that all actors are looking for. Is to get a reoccurring role, a lead role, so that then boom, Comic-Con, Dragon Con, they do the table.
The table stuff.
Yeah. Then you've got the interviews, then you got the red carpet, then you got the premieres, you got all that. And instead of being someone that'll show up to premieres to be like, hey, I know that actor, you are that actor that people are like, oh yeah, I want to take pictures with them. I want to.
So bro, you saw my forehead.
Yeah, you saw my forehead. Yeah, that was my ponytail. That was my elbow. Take a picture of the elbow. Yeah, that's. Yeah. But no, yeah. So that's the breakthrough that I'm waiting, or that I'm looking for. Because otherwise, yeah, you just pinball.
Yeah.
And you're waiting, and you're building your resume. You're building your skills. You're working on your craft, and that's basically all the actors are waiting for, that breakthrough, or working towards getting that breakthrough and hoping for that breakthrough. And sometimes that's where acting, there's really no age limit, because there's some people that break through at 50. There's some people that break through at 12. People that break through at 35. There's people that break through at 70. So you never know. But it sucks, because it's that longing and that waiting and that striving and never hearing anything back, and you got to just keep going.
It's like,
so
you just keep pushing forward, and then it's like our football coach always says, work hard, good things will happen.
Yep.
It's like, just keep working hard, keep putting stuff out there, and finding stuff that you enjoy and have fun with.
Yeah.
People are going to see the charming and charismatic man that you are, and then that's what's going to carry you.
And it's, if you're just doing it for the money,
you'll get burned out.
You get burned out so fast. But if it's something that you love to do, and you just love the craft, you love acting, you love just telling a story, if you just love just being artistic, like showing your musical self, your inner self, just letting it loose, and then it's not a job. That's why I love acting, because it doesn't feel like a job. I get to go to set, and it's fun. Yes, there's days it's tiring. Yeah, I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad it's over, but it was so much fun. But I'm like, oh man, I gotta wake up and do it tomorrow. Hey, that's fine. Like this is great.
Yeah.
I'm like, would I rather work a 9 to 5? Or would I rather be on set, like telling a story?
Yeah.
Meeting people, bringing joy to other people's lives, and if it's something you love, it never gets old.
Yeah.
And so that's why I haven't gotten burned out yet. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, it's like discouraging when I do an audition. I just send it out and just
hello?
Into the void.
Yeah.
You never hear anything back.
Yeah.
And then when you do hear something back, you're like, yes. And so that's what makes it so, like, for me, when I get that call back, or I get the, hey, you got pinned, or you booked it, I did something right.
It's like, it's working. It's happening. It's happening, guys.
Yeah, and I was like, what do I do now? Like, I've got this set, like, I got cast in this movie now, and then, like, it's filmed in 2 weeks. I'm like, now what do I do with my time? Because, like, that I'm like, what will I do? You know, like I've got, they're like, yeah, we start filming in 2 weeks. Okay, so what do I do for 2 weeks? Do I work out? Do I prepare? How do I prepare?
Sorry, don't get hurt. I
Right.
don't get in a car crash. I had to stay at home and preserve the specimen that I am. And
Right, and it's like, and so some friends are like, yeah, when you make it, like, how are you gonna deal with like the fans and like your face being everywhere? I'm like, I just want to be me, you know. Like people ask, I'm like, I was background, you know. I was working a 9 to 5, but this is what I love to do, and I'm honored enough to do it.
yeah,
And yeah, there's times that like you get off stage and you're tired, but if people are like, hey, can I get your autograph? Can I get a picture with you? You know, you're like, yeah, give me 5. Let me take a minute.
Yeah,
let me get some water. But then I'll be out there. Yeah.
Face, I'll be like, all right, cool now. Okay.
Instead of being like, talk to my agent,
God,
you know, or like, hey, you know, maybe next time, or not even talking, but like, and just walk off. I'm like, people came to your concert, people stood in line, people were like, I want to see them play because I love the way he plays, I love his charisma on stage, and then for you to be like, don't have time, you know. So like, there's people like that. I was reading a story or hearing from people that stood outside a set waiting for an actor to come out for hours. They were there from like 3 a.m. and they wrapped it like 2 a.m. So they were out there all day with signs, just waiting to catch a glimpse. And he was just like, and they were like, yeah, he was like, he stopped the car and he got out and he like took pictures and signed autographs and just like hung out with the people and then got in his car and like drove off. And I'm like, you filmed for like more than 12 hours.
Yeah.
Like mentally, because filming for 12 hours, trying to multiple takes, different scenes, trying to be in the moment, like remembering the lines and like getting all those the ups and downs of those emotions. Yeah, it gets tiring, but like you gotta remember, if you don't have fans,
Oh yeah.
they're not gonna watch it. So you just did all that for
Nothing.
and you just cost production so much money.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, even if you're tired, you gotta show people that you're human.
Yeah, I mean, doing a good deed for other people gives you energy too.
Oh yeah.
So, but right now, like, what's the best way for people to kind of find you if they're looking for like roles and things like that, or people just want to follow like you on like this journey?
Well, that would be my Instagram.
Mhm.
I have an IMBD which is tagged in my Instagram.
Mhm.
My agents, if you're looking to give me roles, is probably my agent. Well, I guess because if my agent doesn't find me work, then she doesn't get paid. But I don't want to screw her over either.
Yeah.
But if it's like indie films, student films, if you want an actor, I'll be glad to help out because why not? You know, I love acting, so yeah, you can hit me up on Instagram.
Yeah. Hit him up on Instagram, and then he'll connect you with his agent.
Yeah. If there's a casting call, then I'm with East Coast Talent. Barbara Garvey's my agent, and if it's something that you need an agent and it's a big production that you need an agent for, or you think I need an agent for, I can always send that along because I've done an audition where they're like, send this to your agent, and then she'll apply you for this job. So like there's that. But if it's like a short film, student film, or you just want to collab or whatever, that would be like Instagram.
I gotcha.
But there's because I'm on Actors Access, I'm on casting networks, but that's more for casting directors who are putting out,
looking for beautiful Islander man that's got a great smile and really fun to be around.
Surfing, that's one thing I want to learn.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a skill that I want to add to because that would, not just for acting but just for fun, because people are like, bro, you surf, you shred. I'm like,
you know, surf film,
I want to, like, and that's one thing, like, how are you Islander if you don't know how to surf? I'm like,
hey man,
I'm adopted.
You don't ask black people, why can't you play basketball? It's like, because I'm busy. It's like, I can't just afford. And then surfing,
a lot of oceans in Georgia.
Yeah, a lot of them, like, Lake Lanier's got some great swells and all.
Oh,
but,
bro, yeah.
And I mean, dude, even like in the Gulf Coast, like, it's like you gotta go.
The water's not crazy clear either.
It's not. And
Florida, you just want to get eaten by a shark. Then yeah,
shark
sure.
or an alligator or the people. Like, it's just like, yeah, dude. I mean, That would be really cool. So it's like anybody that listens to this, if you want to get my boy some surfing lessons, like you know, come on.
Yeah,
hook
just
'em
follow
up.
me. It's my Instagram. It's the Polynesian Wolf on Instagram. Yeah. People are like, well, that's easy to remember.
Yeah, Polynesian wolf. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, surfing wise, have you ever wanted to go alligator hunting?
Absolutely not.
No.
No.
I've caught an alligator.
If you want me to throw a rope around an alligator's neck and just go shoot him, like it's like something
Shoot
like
him, shoot him.
like some swamp people
Yeah.
stuff. Like I mean, dude, I don't know. I'm so scared of like anything happening to my hands. Like just
cause
yeah, I'm just
oh,
like
Johnny Depp and the tip of his finger. I'm
Yeah.
so lucky it wasn't. Yeah.
oh dude, I played with this guy Lefty Williams, and he's got the reason he's called Lefty is because he's only got his left hand,
Ooh.
and I think it was like a birth defect. I didn't have enough time to ask him, and
Hmm.
I'm like, hey bud, how'd you lose your arm? Like that's not something that just comes up in a polite conversation. But the guy can shred on guitar because he's got his left hand to do all the fretboard, and then it's like right around the elbow, it's a nub, and he made like a little like a rig to hold a pick, and then it just looks like he's going, it's just wiggling.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
he's better than most people like I've ever played with, and I got to jam with him on stage and stuff, and it's just this open jam, and that's how like musicians
Yeah.
you go around, find open jams, play them, meet people, put bands together, and kind of like it's
Yeah.
like it's that, but it's like
I saw the same thing. My fiance teaches upright bass,
Mhm.
classical bass, and the lead violinist for the concert had was an amputee,
yeah.
and he had his bow attached
Oh.
to his stub, and he was the best. That's why he was he was beyond first stage, like in front of first stage, like the guest violinist.
Yeah.
And he walked out, and I was like, he had just he had something attached, and he was just killing it.
It's like you don't let it hold you back.
Nope.
But yeah, dude, like I like stuff like that. It's like, I mean, dude, you can't let your circumstances hold you down. Like you just gotta fight them. You gotta like push forward, and like even in the dead times, you just keep trying.
Yeah, you gotta, get better at what you do, and then when your moment comes, you're ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of alligator, I caught an alligator. Yeah, we were at a
So you can add alligator hunting.
right. So I watched, Steve Irwin. I watched his videos. He's like, "Crikey, that's an alligator
That's a
right there.
beautiful one right
Yeah,
there.
it'll kill you in 1 second."
Oh no!
Oh no!
Yes, no.
No!
I'm eating up them vowels. No.
No. So we were at this beach house, and I was going through the guest book. I was like, "We love feeding an alligator in the canal out back," and I'm like, "There's a canal out back? There's an alligator?" So I went ripping around the house towards the canal because I was like, "I want to see this thing," and I come around this this fern bush,
Yeah.
and it was just laying there in the sun, and it saw me. I saw him. It was like a small gator. It was like 5 feet.
Yeah. Small.
Yeah. Yeah, like his head was skinny, so it's still young. So
Yeah.
I'm like, it was a massive head. I'm like, "Ugh." But he was small, and he saw me, started heading back to the water, but too slow. I sprinted after him, jumped on him.
It's like I know how to do this. Just hold down the face.
Yeah,
Don't let him roll.
Yep, and clamped his mouth shut, and like lifted his head. And I was like, "Crikey, I got him! I got an alligator!" And I was like, so I told my parents to come over. I was like, "Hey, take a picture of the animal rights activists, because that's a thing." So I was like, I didn't watch this part of the episode where he let them go.
Yeah, how do you get off of it without getting hurt?
Right? I was like, what do I do? So I was like, well, I'll throw his head that way, and I'll like jump off and run. Hopefully he doesn't chase me up this hill, because they're supposedly fast as hell.
Yeah.
So I just threw his head and just ran, and he ran into the water. I ran back up the hill, and I felt so bad. So I went and tried to throw cheese puffs at it. He was like, "I'm not having any of that."
Screw you, dude.
Right?
You just jumped on me. Like, what the?
So I went to Publix, and I got him a steak.
Nice.
It was like a $30 steak. And I was like, "I'm so sorry." So I tossed it, and he ate it. I'm like, "Please don't come and try and kill me in my sleep."
We're even.
Like,
now,
I'm
right?
going to the beach, and it leads to the beach. So can you not follow me to the beach? Like, we're
you're
good.
full.
Yeah. Like, we're good. Like,
That tastes much better than me. I promise. Oh my
so
God.
that's my story. But that was my attempt at Steve Irwin, and that was not. I'm like, yo, that takes some balls.
Yeah.
Especially the 15, 13, 15
the ones that
footers.
he was jumping on. I'm like, dude, a 5-footer. I'm like, I don't know about that. It's like that. It's like animals, man. They're crazy strong for some of their sizes.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Like
but,
pit bulls,
Yes.
surprisingly strong.
yeah. So, but don't worry, we won't let that. We'll edit that to where it's like, wait, so you attacked an innocent alligator without its consent? It's like,
No,
No.
that is not what happened.
he was in contributing to the wildlife, and like, and, you know, he was a good person. So don't come after him. He still plays well with animals.
It's still alive.
Yeah, it's still
It's
alive.
still in the canal.
No animals were harmed.
It got
in the filming
steak.
of that.
$30 worth of steak.
Yeah.
I had like $100 in my wallet, so so I had to figure out a way to get gas later. Yeah, so
It's like
I took a hit.
Yeah, took a hit for the animal kingdom.
Yeah.
He did his part and everything, but yeah, dude, like I'm.
It was also grass fed beef, so
Organic?
organic. I gotta cover all my bases.
The only people you can't please is those vegetarian, vegan people. They're like, you killed an animal to feed another animal. It's like, yeah, like in the wild.
Right, and that's like they're like, oh yeah, I'm an all vegan diet, and I've never felt better. I'm like, you look malnourished.
Like, yeah, you just like looking like death. Yeah, I could go on forever
Right.
about how this, like, guys, red meat is okay. It's like
Yeah.
chicken. It's God's, like, God made chicken to feed like so many animals, including us. But dude, I'm just super excited for you. I can't tell you how many times I've been scrolling through my Instagram or like all my different socials, and you'll pop up. And so like when
I've seen you pop up with you like just shredding on the guitar. I'm like, yo,
yeah,
right,
like, dude, it's like we're out here just getting it, man. It's like you just gotta keep trying. And so it's always super re-encouraging, like for me when I'm like down. I'm like,
yeah.
dude, I got people like you out there still going after it. Like,
Then I see you get gigs, and I'm like, hey, you're still grinding. That's the thing, though, is if this is what you love to do, and this is what you want to do, and it's your passion, there are gonna be times you get discouraged, but you gotta just keep going.
you take in the good shows.
Yep.
You bank those for when you have bad shows, or there's just the famine of nothing out there. No, we're not booking. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be the good times and the bad times. You keep the good times close to you, so when the bad times come, you can use those to continue to fuel yourself through it all.
Yeah, because I was like, man, like I'm not getting anything, and then you're like, hey, would you like to be on a podcast? And I'm like, yeah,
man.
like why not? We just sit and chat.
I just want to hear about what it's like to be an actor, like in that industry, because it's something it's foreign to me, and
Yeah.
it's just fun to like hear what other people are doing.
Yeah, it's
and
just
going
like
through.
it's just like so many. Cause I don't really talk about how many steps you have to go through. Like once you get booked, like once you audition, it goes through the casting director, goes through production, goes through the director, it goes all the way up to the network.
Yeah.
And then they approve these people.
It's like it feels like it goes up a stream,
and then it goes back down, and then you go a call back, and it goes back up.
Yeah, it's like
and
anywhere
like,
on that ladder, it can just fall out, and it's just like, ooh.
Anywhere they could be like, you know what? No, I like this person better.
Yeah.
You know.
Like, or my nephew would be really good in this role, and it's like,
oh yeah, the stories of where they're just like,
nepotism, like
they're like, oh yeah, my girlfriend or like my brother. I'm like, okay, he killed that role, but at the same time, like
I mean, dude, I've heard stories about people like they'll talk about like they changed their last name. They're like, wait a second, Anthony Cage? Who's your dad? Nicolas Cage? Oh, absolutely. Like, you know.
Yeah, and it's like that's the thing, it's like who you know, and
Yeah.
I'm like that's not exactly fair.
It's like, why did Amy Schumer get this role? Is it because her uncle is Chuck Schumer, the House Majority Leader, or it's like some very powerful congressperson? Like, maybe you liked her movies, maybe you liked her comedy, maybe she had a little bit of help, but hey, we all need help.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's also her like with people you know, but then also I've heard that some people are getting beat out by who's got the most TikTok followers.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, there's places that they will not book a band if they don't have X amount of like followers, and I'm like, I understand, but what if we played there and then got that? Like, if then
yeah, because I've heard, like, I don't know if it's true, but I've heard that some actors they've gotten roles because they've had, because it's a pilot and they want people to watch, so they get the following, and I've been on set with a supposed actor that got on because of his following, and let's just say he couldn't act. He had a line, and the word was stop, and he's supposed to say in a way to stop his girlfriend or the girl he's seeing from walking away. Couldn't get the emotion right. Couldn't say the word stop in a way that is believable that you want her to stop. So he'd be like, stop. stop, stop. And then they're like, all right, cut, let's rehearse. And he's like, stop, that's the one, do that. Stop.
It's like, dude, that is a thing.
So they cut it out of the film. They're like, all right, just no, we're not gonna say that line then. I'm like, it's a word. It's a word, and you can't get if you can't get the emotion behind it. I'm like, put me in. Can I do
Coach,
that?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I can get it there. I mean, dude, I've had moments where I have to like take a quick walk because it's like I'll play it and practice it, and then I'm like, all right, record button. I'm like, what is wrong with you guys? As soon as you press that little red button, it's like you just go stupid, and it's
right. Because I play guitar and I just like play chords and like I've recorded like myself singing and I'm like, oh, that sounds good. But then I'm like, all right, now I'm gonna record it for real.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I forget how to play.
Dude, I can imagine that's kind of. I'm sure there's some people that struggle with that on the acting.
Oh yeah, like the one that they say action and like even though you've been rehearsing, like it still happens to me where like my mind just goes blank. I was on this indie film recently.
Line.
Literally, I was just like, what's the line? I know we just rehearsed this, and I've got the lines memorized, and all of a sudden they're like, and action, and all of a sudden just. Yeah. And like I get my first line out, then he responds, and I'm like, "Sorry, can we reset?" And they're like, "I'm like, let me pull up my script." I'm like, "I know this. I know this." And action. I like just blank again. I'm like, "Guys, I'm so sorry. Can I take 5?"
Well, and especially too with the camera on there, you can't have like a projector or something in the wings or like something because you're like. And that's why, Cheryl, like, you can't be my girlfriend anymore because...
Yeah, because then your emotion's not there.
Yeah, and, like, your eyes are over here reading something off. It's like, I can get away with that with having, my tablet or something like that.
Yeah.
So, if, like, because I forget a lot of words. Like,
well, there are actors that, if they're sitting in the chair, they actually have the lines here. Yeah. And there's a scene I was watching. I think it was, like, a TikTok or Instagram. And he's like, if you pay attention to the scene, you know, when he looks down, because he's like this... And, like, you know, it's an emotional scene or, like, he's, like, discouraged or whatever. But he actually does have his lines down there. So he just, like, you know, looks like he's thinking and pondering. And then he looks up. And it's because he has his lines in his lap.
Hey, I can respect that, man.
But it looks flawless. It looks seamless. And, like, there's ways to, like, cold read. Where you have your finger on the lines and you're still engaged. But then you, like, you kind of move your thumb down as they're talking. And then you, like, kind of, like, you know... If you glance down like normally, you can glance down, you know, look to the side or whatever,
just, like,
and then
gather yourself.
Yeah,
just...
yeah. But yeah, it's tough, especially to do on screen.
I remember they were talking about The Rock. He would have like some of his like lines written on his hands during WWE things, and it's like you were telling me that you're gonna do this, and he's just like wow. And then somebody called him out on it just because it was a part like just to mess with him. But I mean, dude, there's so much that goes into that. But I mean, dude. I think, you know, you're a great guy. I've known you for a good long while. I've been seeing you doing a lot of great stuff, man. I hope, like, we'll definitely, like, what we do is we, like, clip it up and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So if there's some stuff in here that you want to repost and stuff, by all means.
Okay, yeah.
Like, we'll send it to you. Just give us a shout. We'll give you a shout. And then, you know, Polynesian Wolf on Instagram. Luke McDonald on everything else.
Yeah, Luke Endyan or Luke McDonald, yeah.
So, man, dude, I appreciate you.
Like, no, man, I appreciate you reaching out. I was like, man, I haven't seen this dude in a minute, so.
Hey, I ain't afraid to like reconnect with folks. As long as you're good folks, you're good with
me.
Yeah,
right. So I'm like, man, we gotta stay in touch. We gotta do more. We gotta do more stuff like this, and like I know that your buddy he does like filming and stuff. So like I'm always down to help out.
Yeah, his Instagram or not Instagram, but he's a Wolfie on a couple different like platforms. So it's like Polynesian Wolfie. Yeah. He's like I forgot I did make that.
Kind of forgot it for a second there.
But dude, like especially now that I'm getting more of the music, like pushing more on that, like definitely, like one of the things I want to do is I want to write a really kick-ass rock song.
Oh yeah.
And then the music video just be a fight scene.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Like, I mean, and what I mean, like I want to have like a 3-minute, 30-second long fight scene where it's just and it's just somehow it syncs up to the music.
Yeah, well, because you could also do like a. Like it's like you see like the music videos was like a storyline kind of, and that would be cool.
Yeah, because that's something I'm just not great at. Like I can write songs, and I have a music video in my head.
Yeah,
like, I always write when I write a song or if I get a riff, I like immediately start seeing like a scenery. Like like oh, this is a rainy day in a jazz club in like 19 something like New York.
Yeah,
and then oh the mob kicks in the door, da 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 da, and it's like
I got a stunt dude that I pulled onto an indie film to help with stunts.
You
And-
love it.
No, I don't.
Well, you're going to.
You just don't know it yet.
You just don't. Yeah.
But yeah, I got a stunt dude that I helped. I had him jump on this indie film with me and help with stunt coordinator. So if you ever, if you need like stunts for like, especially the fight scene,
Yeah.
because he can like help with the choreo and stuff like that. And since you guys already have like the camera work and stuff, and help with the like the acting or whatever, and yeah, it'll be great. We can put that together. You have the dream, and
it's like guys, here's what I'm thinking. And then it's like I'll bring little like storyboard flashcards. It's like we'll run through the train, and then the train explodes, and then we run through, and then we got motorbikes. And it's like, Jared, do you have the budget for this? Not yet.
not yet, but you're gonna love it.
You're gonna love it. But yeah, dude.
But I'm like, yeah, two professionals that wanna get there. I'm like, we gotta help each other out.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, dude, it's a lot of it.
And that's the thing. It's like you have a following. I don't have as huge of a following, but like yes, and so we gotta help each other out and like get the views or to get the get ourselves out there.
Yeah.
And because that's a good thing about social media is that you can explode overnight.
Yeah.
And you never know. Like you could post a music video and like he doesn't even know, but you're gonna love it.
You're gonna love it, Seabass. I promise.
You're gonna love it.
It's like, Jared, this is a dumb idea. It's like, but they're gonna love it.
All your ideas are just some jazz smoky bar, and then all of a sudden a mafia breaks in.
A fight scene breaks
I've
out.
heard this idea so many
The
times.
Terminator's there.
Yeah.
What? It's like,
But you gotta be in the movie too somewhere.
oh, dude. I mean,
You gotta be like, you gotta knock some more head with the guitar. You
I
gotta be
would
out there
love
playing or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
In short, it's like I want to have a fight scene. Want to be in it, and then like someone throws me a guitar and I like crack it. Like
I just watched him drop an instrument last week
That
and
was-
almost cry, so I can't see him really breaking an instrument.
it's going to be a cardboard like guitar, something that's like looks like a guitar but breaks like cardboard. It's like they're out there, I'm sure somewhere. Or we'll make one. But yeah.
Or like what you be playing guitar and they break in and
mean,
you
that
put
guitar-
you put your guitar down and you just fucking just jump off the stage and just tackle this dude.
Yeah. There's
Something simple.
something simple, and it's like that
Where
guitar.
your hands don't get hurt,
Yeah.
your face doesn't get hurt.
Like my buddy Brett, he gave me that guitar. He's like, bro, I got this guitar from like a garage sale, and it's like a maybe like a $50 guitar. Like it is Walmart clearance aisle guitar, and it's just like it could be good with some work on it, but it's like if I dropped that one, I wouldn't be crying. The one I dropped the other day, definitely one of my favorite guitars, and it was like
What was it?
it was a Schecter blackjack EMGs, custom inlays, and the headstock cracked. So it was like it's like maybe a $500 to $800 guitar depending on the condition and like who's like.
But the repairs, how much?
The repairs was like a couple $100. Like,
Ooh.
but it's like I love that guitar and the way it plays, and so just to get it like I immediately detuned all the strings, sent it to my guy. He clamped it, glued it, sanded it down, so it's like it's basically it's brand new.
Okay.
So it's back up and running, but it's like so. But yeah, dude, I believe I'm right there with you on like we have to stick together. Like as long as you're doing your thing and you're a good person and like you don't end up on TMZ for doing something horrible, I'm with you
Right.
all the way. And if even if he did do it, I don't care. I like him.
And I'd see you and they're like, oh yeah, he like bashed a fan over the head with a guitar.
It's like they asked for it. It's like, I mean, yeah. Oh my god, dude! But I'm right
Yeah, as
there
long
with
as
you,
we
man.
don't see a backstage video of you doing lines or whatever.
Or like I'm not gonna be like all the streamers that once you hit 1 million like viewers, then you start doing horrible things and like messaging people you shouldn't be messaging. It's like no, not doing that.
All right.
Not about that. Just want to play music, make people happy in the crowd. That's it.
Yeah, I'm doing this because this is what I love to do. I'm not here for all that extra.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, no.
Well, dude, I appreciate you so much for being here.
Yeah, man,
brother.
for sure. Thank you for having me.
And then like definitely you get some more like stuff going on. Like my thing is like get people, bring them back in. Like
Oh, yeah.
we'll run it back. Maybe throw Banana Man in here. He's one of our recurring characters.
Banana Man.
Oh yeah, yeah. You gotta watch
Okay.
it. Well, dude, as we say on the Strange Herd, thanks again, man. Stay strange out there. Goodbye,
Always.
everybody. Thank you.
See you guys.